Ladies and gentlemen, it's Missing the Point. It's the Power Rankings show. Myself, the real BK, the usual two. We also have Hollywood Ray. Didn't mean to rhyme. I forced Hollywood Ray to come onto this show because I thought I fleeced him in a trade, but it turns out he fleeced me in a trade in fantasy football. I wish that the MTP Boston show, which is out on the MTP feed right now, if you guys want to go check it out, Ray and Mike break down the Pats, talk a little Red Sox. It's good stuff. I wish I'd have listened to that show before I agreed to give you anything for Ramondre Stevenson, because now I listen to that. I think I'm getting this like stud, like he's their only offensive weapon. And then that day I learned he's fumbled in 4 straight games. Didn't know that. I learned that he could potentially get benched. Bill Belichick would have already benched him.
Belichick would have cut his ass.
And then, yeah, I bet. And the final nail in the coffin was, I think it was yesterday or today. We're recording this on Wednesday. Gerard Mayo actually coming out and being like, yeah, maybe. So tough look for Dave. And it's basically, I'm having the San Francisco 49ers season in fantasy football right now. Usually I'm at the top of the heap. Not this year, boys. Not this year. Coming off an L, though.
I know. It was a tough L, too. It was a tough L.
That was a tough L. I watched that play out. That was interesting. But listen, we're not here to talk about our own fantasy football. We're fucking Dolphins. We're not here to talk about our own fantasy football seasons. We're here to talk about everyone else's real life seasons at the tail end, the act 3 of the show. I will, of course, be going through with these two fine, upstanding gentlemen here, the entire 10-piece power rankings created by Real BK himself. But we always have a little business to get out of the way first. And I think the first thing on everybody's minds, the biggest story of this week, is definitely Davante Adams requesting a trade.
And the Raiders saying they will trade him too. It's not just requesting.
The Raiders, I think, are taking the correct approach by saying we'll consider any options if they want to come up, and they're going to field some phone calls. There's some notable teams that I think are probably, we could guess are on the list, but I think there's actually been confirmations of who the list is. So Ray, I want to start with you. What's your take on Davante Adams as a player? I feel like my guess would be he's right up your alley as the kind of player that you like. Just having done this show with you for almost 5 years now, the situation that he's in, and is there any stink on him? Like coming from Green Bay to the Raiders, a player this good, like can't seem to stay on a team, or are we firmly taking the approach of like, we all want to see him get unshackled from that turgid fucking offense that Luke Getsy is running, thankfully not in Chicago anymore, but in Las Vegas, and also hopefully not get teamed back up with Derek Carr in New Orleans, because everyone saw the video that went viral of Davante saying that guy's going to get me fucking killed. Or I may be paraphrasing, but essentially that's what he meant. So
sure. I mean, listen, I mean, we put together a great article that's out there on MTP show.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Greg's article.
Yeah, talking about what benefit it would have if he came to New England. Now, I don't think that that's something that's going to be a possibility, obviously, but it was something to think about hypothetically. But listen, he's been, as he said on Shannon Sharp show, he said when you talk about the top 5, you got to mention 17 in there, and
I would put him in the top 5 still.
Yeah, exactly. He's been special for a number of years, and obviously it has been an ideal situation for him in Vegas. Obviously, he played with Derek Carr, at Fresno State. So I think that obviously played a large part in him wanting to be a Raider, and also being from California and, what they grew up in. So I get that. So listen, he got the hometown bug out the way. He played for them. It didn't work out. He still put up great numbers, but obviously, when you're playing with a washed up Jimmy G, and then now you're playing with, Gardner Minshew, who, really is just good in the backup role. Like, he's not someone that should be starting on a regular basis. It breeds frustration, and between the injuries, the coaching changes, and just the overall culture, it's not where it needs to be. So, I can't wait to see where he goes. I don't know where he ends up going. Like I said, I don't think he comes in New England, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a reunion with him in New York. I just wonder what it would take, because obviously they would want to keep Garrett Wilson, but I wonder what it would take to go get Davante Adams up in East Rutherford.
Do you think he demands that same price that the top tier wide receivers would get, like a first round? Because top 5, Justin Jefferson, for example, if he got traded this past offseason, that would have been like 2 first round picks, maybe even a second round, a third round to go.
No way they're trading 2 first
or at
round
least a
picks.
first round pick. At least a first round pick.
Yeah. Not many people have 2, and that trading 2 is wild.
Well, wasn't Tyreek 2?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, he's superhuman. You know, like I don't know if like, yeah, fine, maybe. I don't know if he was, but Tyreek Hill, I think, is a fucking cheat code. I'd give up a second round pick for him.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd go first round pick.
I think what happens is because when you hear disgruntled and you hear I think you automatically think it's problematic, right? So
well, it usually is.
Yeah, no, it usually is, right? But remember, there's another guy that played in Oakland that was disgruntled and was showing his ass literally in the stands. And he made his way up to Route 1 and had the best season of receivers ever had.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, there you go. So sorry, I'm just assuming people knew. Sorry, you're right. My bad, Dave. You're right.
No. I just wanted to be the one that got it right.
Randy Moss. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I love quizzes. I do
that from time to time. The three of us go into votes like no other people do. So it's bad, but it's all good. But yeah, so they've played this out before there. So they'll get some type of deal done. But like I said, I think that whoever gets him is going to get a guy that's motivated. And once again, he's done everything individually, so he's ready to win. And whoever
surprising that they're floating this now after a win too, though. I mean, I don't know what motive.
Yeah, but they know. Yeah,
yeah. When the tea leaves are there, though, Bobby, like that, like if the writing is on the wall, it's time. It's time to go.
Yeah. I think for me with Davante Adams specifically, it was always like because he was Aaron Rodgers' guy, I was like fuck him too, like by association. Then he kind of went away. Like in sort of the national narrative, like the scope of what everyone's looking at when he's kind of lost on that offense, like that happens to really good receivers when there's just nothing. They're just not getting highlights. They're not making it on TV every week. So it's a good question that Bobby raises because what would you give him? What would you give up for him? Has probably changed since his Green Bay days, even if we're kind of all sitting here saying he's not any different as far as like talent or stock. But just because some of that shine's probably gone off him because it's going to be his third team, I do think that the cap offers that the Raiders are going to get might be a little bit lower than what they paid for him. So, I think that might be like the stock has gone down. We have to just sort of and it's not his fault, I think is what we're saying.
So did y'all agree with Teddy Bruschi said? I don't know if y'all watched it on NFL.
I didn't hear it. What did he say?
Teddy Bruschi said that Kansas City should go get it. Oh, my
God. Please, God damn it, no.
I mean, that would be the end of this football season. We should
please don't do that.
Yeah.
No more predictions.
And once again, Teddy, I get Teddy Bruschi seen it happen in real life. He's seen it happen in real time. So
it would be exactly that. It would literally be the somewhat disgruntled wide receiver from Oakland going to the best QB. And I think they would put up absolutely insane numbers. I mean, I don't even think that Mahomes plays with guys like, well, he's never played.
He's never had a Davante Adams. That's for fucking sure.
I think that Tyreek Hill is like a different type of wide receiver. That goes without saying. But I think also Pat Mahomes is better since the last time he had a top 5 wide receiver. I think he's like improved. I think he knows he's the best guy now. He's not like, I understand if people are shouting into their radios right now or whatever you're listening to this on, like, I know his like form has dipped. But again, and I made this point on last week's show, people keep bringing up this stat, like Pat Mahomes hasn't thrown for 300 plus yards in his last 12 games now. And I'm like, I know, but one of those games was him winning the Super Bowl. Like one of those 12 games was literally him going out there and winning the Super Bowl. So like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like it's over,
this year. So it's a moot point.
Right. And
I hate that. I hate it.
But I mean, he's got to a point. He's got to a point where obviously
we just start nitpicking.
So that Brady got to it. That Peyton Manning got to.
Just the NFL we live in.
We're not doing it here on this show. I think that like the obvious, because I'm just not going to be that guy on the internet that sounds dumb. Well, I am often. I'm not going to do it on purpose. It's the idea that he's not still the best guy. Not true. In fact, by a mile, I think he's still the best guy because all right, like you see Josh Allen's performances over the first few weeks. I think Lamar's put up really good numbers. Like there's Burrow's starting to improve. There's guys all over the league that like started well. By the end of the year, I promise you, we're all still going to want Pat Mahomes as our guy if we're trying to win a Super Bowl. It's just like we all lived this though already. It's like to your point, like to your Teddy Bruschi point, is like we all lived this I guess you'd call it phenomenon one generation ago with Brady. And I said it about him and I said it about the Pats and I'll say it now about the Chiefs. It's like the sooner you just understand that they're the guys you need to go beat. And that'll be really impressive when, whoever dethrones them this year or next year. I mean, I don't think they're going to win 4 in a row, but who fucking knows? Somebody's got to go get them now. And if he has Davante Adams,
no one's ever won.
Has someone won that?
No way.
No.
Pittsburgh didn't win 4 in a row in the 70s?
Three
So.
Okay, got you. Okay.
There's the record.
No, they won 4 in the 70s, though. They won 4.
But 9 in a row.
9 in a row. Got you. Okay.
So I think did the Bills go to 3 in a row or did they go to 4 in a row?
Well, Bills went to 4 in a row, but I mean,
they lost 4 in a row.
Yeah,
so that is
twice.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
tough.
like, yeah.
And then, the Bills aren't going to do really good on this show today either. I'll be totally honest with you. Not at least not I can't. But yeah, listen, if Davante Adams landed, not to over speculate here, but if he landed in Kansas City, I think that'd be a wrap on the fucking season, to be totally honest with you, not to be hyperbolic. I think the Jets have inquired. I think that would make them a lot better too, for obvious reasons. They're reuniting with the Rodgers thing. And they clearly need help. We're going to talk about them a little bit later, but go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
No, I think the only team I feel like he could go to where he might tail off, and I feel like you guys know what I'm about to say, is the Tennessee Titans. Every great receiver that has gone there has tailed off.
There to die.
Yeah. So Andre Johnson, obviously
DeAndre Hopkins is there right now.
Hopkins is there now. So it's just like if Tennessee finds a way to trade for him, it's like basically the Falcons would go into the shadow realm. Like you would not hear about him ever again if he goes to Tennessee. And once again, the Titans fans is going to hear this that might get emotional. Oh well.
Once do those exist? Do Titans fans exist? I don't think I've ever.
I'm sure they do.
Um,
I was a Titans fan when Eddie George played there and Steve McNair played there. I
right,
was
that's old school. Right. Frank Whitecheck, Kevin Dyson, Derek Mason, the boys are not walking through the door anymore. So
Derek Mason, it's
a new day. Yeah,
I used to call them the baby Rams in my head. You know, like they were like built. Their offense was built exactly like the greatest show on turf, except for the QB position, and they ran so many of the same plays.
I mean, there was a dog though, but.
No, I mean I liked it. I love Steve McNair. He's one of my favorite ever QBs. He's just very different than Kurt Warner, like play style wise. But like it was like the funky. I thought they were like the funky Rams in that era. They were like the Rams with like a little disco. You know what I mean? And Eddie George is such a
we saw it in the Super Bowl. You know, they were that close.
They were literally that close. That was so heartbreaking for me. I really wanted them to win that. But listen. Davante Adams, good luck to you. I think you're a real talented football player. I think a bag, at least one more bag is probably in your future wherever you go. I think that you're going to have a great life wherever you go. And I think you should think about maybe coming to Chicago. Because honestly, DJ Moore's lazy ass is fucking killing me over the last 3 weeks. And I know we just signed him to a crazy fucking contract, but we'll get to that.
Jerry need to call too, Bobby. Jerry need to call him. Yeah. Jerry need to call Las Vegas.
We can use him.
Yeah,
you could use. Yeah, I mean, your backfield.
Especially if Cooks is going to be out,
we can get a running back too.
Yeah, in the deal. just can that kid White who like just hasn't done shit and like fumbled last week maybe come? Yeah, I mean, you might as well try something. But we'll talk about them in a little bit also. So just to recap the cross-offs from last week, Bobby, we didn't officially redline anybody, but the ones that were basically hanging off the cliff were the Titans, the Jags, the Raiders, and the Browns. I didn't really see anything from those 4 teams over this past week that leads me to believe that we shouldn't cross them off or they will be crossed off soon. The Titans did win, though, as did the Raiders. So we could go stay of execution on those. What do you guys think? Who's the worst team, Ray, out of those 4?
So
Titans, Jags, Raiders, Browns.
I'd probably go with the Browns.
They are tough to watch, huh?
Yeah,
they are brutal. Fucking tough to watch. They're brutal. Yeah, I really thought that they were going to be better.
I mean, I think we all did, but I mean, I think Dave, you were the first one to kind of crystallizing on the show a few weeks ago, you had mentioned like Deshaun Watson just doesn't really have it anymore as a QB. And once again, it wasn't like it was.
He might be the worst quarterback I've ever watched this year, this iteration of
his. Oh, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. Really his whole time in Cleveland. And obviously, I think that, last year he had a mulligan or a caveat because it had been some time since he played. So people like myself that thought that, hey, maybe give it time, give him a decent line time to build with that offense. And you can see what happens. But I haven't seen someone fall off the cliff that badly since Max Kellerman thought Tom Brady was going to back in 2016. It was like that to me is unbelievable.
By the way, he's talking about Max Kellerman falling off the cliff, not Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right. Can I just say in defense of Max Kellerman, I can't believe
and I love Max. I love Max Kellerman.
I cannot fucking believe we're here.
You're defending Max Kellerman.
He's a boxing guy. He's a boxing guy.
Oh, he's amazing too.
And as a boxing guy, he's really good. And I think that like if he was a running back and we all saw him be a really great running back and then somebody made him an outside linebacker and everybody was like, that guy sucks overall, I think we'd be a little bit like, all right, well, we don't do that with Max, right? Yeah. Like he was great in boxing. He knows boxing.
He's pretty good on around the horn.
He can be decent here and there, but there's skills that guys have in this game that we're currently in, not to get too meta, but there's skills guys have in this game where they know this sport's like in their soul, in their DNA. Yeah. And I saw Max Kellerman be one of the better boxing analysts. I witnessed it with my eyes. Yeah. I know you guys did too. As far as like take hunting and like, trying to say something that's a hot take in order to like get aggregated, he was one of the biggest sluts for it. And I think that made him sound stupid way too many times. And I think that we're fucked now because like, ESPN is firing guys like Zach Lowe and letting fucking Woj leave. And you're kind of like, and I know he was burnt out or whatever, but like if I'm running ESPN, I'm like, you know what? Take a year off. Like your contract will be waiting here for you when you get back because of the things that he's done. But we're going towards the sort of takeification, like we need to get aggregated into TikTok sort of era. And I know we're guilty of it too, but I think it fucks up like genuine sports takes. And I think that Max was probably one of the first and earliest victims of that. But not to totally go off on a crazy tangent about that. Please get back to what you were saying.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens. It's why, what was the guy's name? Dan Le Batard. It's why Dan Le Batard didn't do very well at ESPN towards the end, because I think he had things to say, whether you agreed with them or not, like he had things to say and it was long form. And he got in a fight with ESPN, Bill Simmons, like he had things to say, like he had opinions, like whether you agree with them or not, like a lot of people think he sucks. A lot of people like him. That's being a TV personality. Right. But he had things to say about Roger Goodell and ESPN was like, you got to go, so that's the way Simmons, and they're still the mothership.
Simmons is big time too. I remember when that all went down.
I mean, I kind of liked it. That's one of the things that made me like him, like follow him to where he went, because he kind of stuck his middle finger up at like the mothership. That they were all the tadpoles swimming around this big fucking like entity that's constantly going and influencing sports culture. And he stuck his fucking middle finger up at it. And we're all grateful, to be honest, because I think that's why we all feel like maybe we can contribute to the conversation now. But anyway, the Browns are terrible. I loved the idea of that.
Who's
Browns
the worst?
Team. The way that they were.
Who's the worst team in the league right now? What do you guys think? Is it
the team I like to watch the least are the Jacksonville.
I was going to say, is it the Jags or is it the Patriots?
The team that no,
listen. You don't have to be kind.
I'm not being kind. I don't mind watching the Pats. I don't mind watching them. I watched the entire. Well, once it got out of hand, I sort of stopped paying attention. But I watched a lot of the 49ers Pats game, and quite frankly, probably because I have Ramondre now. Thanks, Ray. I was just watching to see if I could see some stuff.
So, like I said, we gave a lot of a breakdown on it on Monday night, but we can dive into it again a little bit. But listen, when the two players that shine the most are your kicker and your punter, you're in trouble. And once again, Joey Sly, Brian Behringer, they're probably going to be all pros in their position. So great, more power to them. Congratulations to the bench. Is the offense as a whole is rough to watch. Defensively, they're not as terrible as it leads on to be. Once again, when you're left on the field as much as they're left on, eventually you're going to crack because conditioning
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's
one of
gonna-
my
it's gonna
tried
show
and
up.
true beliefs
So
about defense. It's like time of
yeah,
possession is the defense's biggest and most
right.
important stat.
Yeah, so they was out there for a long time. So that kind of
I agree.
that changes things, right? So, but just offensive, we're speaking offensively, they deserve to be in that bottom 4, bottom 5, whatever you want to put in there. I'm comfortable. Like I said, I know that we have made the cross off thing popular on the show. I'm okay if it's not the Browns that get crossed off. If y'all say that New England is already done after 4 games, like we were last year when we got smoked in Dallas, then by all means it's fine because I'm already hurt. Like I'm already heartbroken. I'm already
All right. Well, let's do this.
Well, the
Let's do
Jags,
this.
the Jags are
just
officially 0-4. We're crossing them off. 0-4
that's
is
what I
a
was going to
cross off.
say.
It's almost
Yes,
it's next to
agreed.
impossible to make the
You
playoffs.
can't come back.
starting
yeah.
off
So
0-4.
when we lose to Miami, then next week when we do this, yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, I think that's what I was going to make a request because essentially a cross off, if you don't know, is like no chance to make the playoffs. We're officially, we would bet on it. We would put our mortgage on the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs. And it's tough after only 4 games to really cross anybody off a lot of the time. So we are careful about this. We try not to fucking, put the cart before the horse.
Uncross someone off. You know what I mean?
We've had to in the past.
It's
we've had
unbecoming.
to in the past.
We've had to do it before.
No, it's thoroughly unbecoming.
It's not good. You don't want to do that.
There's a stink in the room when you have to get the whiteout out, So we're trying not to go crazy here. So we do like to leave it until it's official because it's our game. We make up the rules. The Jags we are crossing off. Yeah. I agree. I think we're all fine with that. They're terrible. I got a little frisky into the Jags business in fantasy football in the draft. It fucked me every single way it possibly could have. I don't ever want to be in the Jags business ever again. It's probably going to be fine for you, Ray, now that you have Gabe Davis, because I just wanted to get the Jags out of my mind, off my screen. But I bet he picks it up now because I traded him.
Well, speaking of him, it's crazy. Obviously, in situations and scenarios make a world difference. But we've seen him turn into one of the best postseason performers in Buffalo.
I mean, I honestly think I was disappointed he wasn't still in Buffalo because
and then and then you get relegated to going down to well, I know it's not called Alltel Stadium anymore. I'm showing my age when I say that, but down in Jacksonville, and it's just like he doesn't. It's like you haven't heard much of him, right? And I mean, for another show, I mean, we could really do another dive into how bad that top half of the 2021 draft was. Or is, I should say, because it's not past tense. It's currently happening. It's amazing how no one in that top 10 really has hit. It's bad. Like it's step back future. Once again, we took Matt Jones at 15. Like obviously he's now a backup. Trey Lance is now a backup.
Trey Lance is third string.
It's wild. And like I said, once again, Trevor Lawrence got that contract, but he's made some throws that I know, me and Micah disagreed on what Trevor Lawrence could do, but
what is it, 13?
He's not the guy that he should have been.
I think they've lost 13 straight now, dating back to last year.
It's wild.
I would say Jalen Waddle is an exception. Oh, both the wide receivers in the top 10 are probably exceptions. Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are both pretty good.
Yes, correct. The QBs, my bad. Yeah, let me be more specific.
The Q, but yeah. Oh, I know you were just talking about the Q because you know what it is, dude. There's so many fucking QBs in that top 10. So many QBs got drafted.
Yes,
and then you look at right at 11, the Bears pick Fields, who's having a resurgence. I mean, I don't know how long his resurgence is going to last. We'll see. I think they're getting better week on week, which I think is Arthur Smith.
Coaching matters, right? I think that I think in this era in general,
Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons that year.
Yeah, we try to diminish the impact of coaching, right? Because it's like, it's what you do on the field that lasts. And if you're not this, you're not that. And it's like,
environments too. I mean, just even if you zoom out culture, like that, that stuff matters. And especially with those skill position players, you see it happen all the time where it's like, who's throwing to them? Like, obviously that's like a huge part of it. Of course it is. Like, and their connection. I mean, even at talent level of your QB and like how well you connect with him are gonna impact like what your season is. And honestly, like his QB got a lot worse. Gabe Davis's QB got a lot fucking worse because we're all now accepting that Trevor Lawrence sucks. So it's like,
and it's crazy because it's like what was it 275 he got for them? 275 mil. So it's like when you, and once again, he's gonna get at least another year out of it because they got to see if they can get something else out of him for another year. But once again, when the backup is Mac Jones, it's like you're basically
That was rough, dude. That was rough. Did you see him? Did you see him come in?
Yeah, he came in. It was more of the same. It was just like, folks are really bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, whatever word you want to use, during the preseason when he had made some nice throws. I said, there's nobody better than preseason Mac Jones. Preseason Mac Jones is a Hall of Famer.
Mac Jones made the playoffs.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl.
Bro, he did make the Pro Bowl his first year. That's right.
Yeah, he was alternate, but I get it. But it's just like it's
fucking counted, bro. I think my all-time, just to toot my own ball sack for a second, I think my all-time favorite take that I've had on the show was when early in Mac Jones' second season, I did that whole rant to Mike where I was like, oh, Mike, he's going to look so good in a baseball cap, dude. He's going to be that guy where he's going to be on the sidelines and the interview's going to be like, we love having Mac around. He's a great X's and O's guy.
That's exactly,
he's
that's
great
exactly
for
what
the
his
room.
career is destined to be.
It was like 1 year later, and he'll be around, guys. He's not going anywhere. Mac Jones is going to stay in the room like a fart for the next, probably, I don't know, at least 10 years. He's exactly that guy. He's
a taller, and you'll appreciate this take, Dave, because he played for your team.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chad Henne.
Nope, not Chad Henne, but it does begin with a C.
Who am I not thinking of? Tell me.
So just for time purposes, he's a taller Chase Daniel.
Yeah, Chase Daniel.
Yeah. Chase Daniel. Once again, who's doing great on TV now. I love the show he does on FS1, but it's just like that. That's where he's going to become. And once again, listen, backup QB is the best position to have in the NFL because you don't have to take all the hits, and you're $8 to $10 million a year. Say, hey, you want to run this out route here? Okay, go. Double slot right on 3. Break. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, but front
row seats to the game too. And a pretty good salary probably. And you probably get to travel all over the country because you probably want to play for 9 different teams. Mm-hmm. It's fucking cool. I'd be super into it. Backup QB would be number 1. I think punter would be number 2.
Kicker's pretty good too.
Nah, kicker's high pressure, dude. Kicker's high pressure.
Not these kickers nowadays. These guys are just drilling them from 60 plus.
I know. Remember I told you I thought I fucked up the fantasy football stats, but it turns out kickers are just drilling in fucking kicks from like 60 plus, like twice a fucking week. I was like, I can't figure out what's wrong with the scoring. Like, what's up with all these kickers scoring so high? And then I was like, they literally are just cashing. Like tight ends have given all their juju to fucking to kickers this year.
It's funny because I remember and I love that we can go in different areas right now. Just talk about, I love it, but like Jason Elam that played in Denver years ago, like he was the only guy back in the day in our day that was like hitting.
I remember him.
Jason Elam hitting from like 60, 62.
Okay, but he was in Denver.
He was no, I know, but I'm saying, but he was the only guy that was consistently hitting from 60, 61, 55. So now, like you said, like Bobby just said, like now it's like you got.
Bobby Stigler's the best kicker. Maybe
Brandon Aubrey can kick a 70-yard field goal. They said.
Crazy.
Dude, I think this Cowboys not scoring on any drive is the most shameful thing that can happen in the NFL this season because you basically just need to get to like the fucking 30 yards.
Dude, wow.
It's gonna get to the point where they're gonna have to fuck with the rules a little bit because teams are just gonna be like, fuck it, touchback kick, just to consistently score. The advanced analytics are just gonna tell you that's fine, right? Like there's gonna be a team that does that, and it's gonna ruin football. They're gonna have to change all the rules again. On that note, actually, this new kickoff is like not better, but not worse. It's just the same.
Yeah, it's
like
okay.
Nothing happens.
It's okay.
Right? Fine.
I don't like that you're not able to run until the contact or like whatever, like to catch or whatever. Like I just think just like
but
that.
Everyone's still drilling touchbacks, so it doesn't even fucking come into
it. But it takes away some of the just the raw action of it. But I mean, listen, to me, I wonder if they eventually get rid of it altogether.
That's what they're trying to avoid, though. That's like why they did this.
Well, no, but to me, there's nothing dynamic about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it hasn't been dynamic at all. So I just feel like why not just say, hey, they just scored. Would you like to start from the 30? Sure. Okay, great. Now we're back. The score is now 7-0. We're beginning of the second quarter. Caleb Williams takes the field, and it's like I don't want like if that's the case, listen, just let me start at 30, 1st and 10. Let's go.
Look, I'm not like not an advocate for player safety, but when I tell you this idea, but like because I think player safety should be the most important thing. But I'm also a guy who was 15 when Devin Hester returned his first kickoff for the Bears. And the way that I know in my heart that the most exciting play in football is a kick return to the Casa. And all true football fans would agree, or maybe the second most exciting is a punt return. Actually, the most exciting play in football is returning a field goal for a touchdown. That's a short field goal for a touchdown. And I saw Devin Hester do that too.
To be fair, Dave.
Pick six is coming all shapes and sizes.
Right, but to be fair, Dave, you've seen two of the best returners of all time on your team. So it's a little different. So when you got Devin Hester and then Cordero Patterson, it's a little different. Yeah. Them guys, Cordero Patterson, and what's it? You go back on NFL Throwback on YouTube. He had a hell of a run too in his career. I mean, granted, he's transitioned to be a really good running back, but listen, when he first got out there, man, that dude was lethal too. So like, I get why you of all people.
It is why, and it's why I am presenting myself now here today on this show as the official advocate of kick returners. I am the kick return as a play in football in general. Here's how we're gonna do it. Every single person on the field for a kick return has to wear one of those goofy protect my concussion helmets. Every single one. They're good stuff. I like them. I like that they're in the league. I don't give a shit. We'll get used to the aesthetic. If they're helping them not get concussions, great. Every single one on the kick return has to do it. Second part of the idea. We're going to kick it from wherever you scored from. Okay? So if you kicked a field goal, right? And it was like a 45-yard field goal or whatever, you're kicking it the other way back to the other team from wherever you scored from. All right? So that's going to do, lots of touchbacks, but also you can coffin corner kicks now. You can coffin corner kicks. It's not a penalty. If you want to kick it out at the 1 yard line, you're good to go, right? So bear with me. Last rule. First kickoff from the 20. Everybody on the receiving team has to line up on the line of the end zone. You catch the kick return. Everybody lines up on the kicking team right next to the kicker, and you got to sprint the full field like a war, like a Braveheart, like a Braveheart war. You got to sprint the full field as fast as you possibly can at each other. And sometimes the guy with the ball is going to pop out, but it's going to cause so many fumbles. It might cause a few deaths. Yeah. There actually should be, and I think this is true, a Spartan at every game running from side to side at the 50-yard line with a giant flag that says kick off, like in giant letters, and just runs with a huge flag, like jumps in the middle of the field and jumps to the other side. I mean, I thought this used to be a country. All right. I thought this was America. I thought this is what we did here. Okay. And now the kickoff is like, I don't know. Fine, I guess. Fine. Come on. Take my idea. And I'll talk to the player safety guys. I'll refine it.
Once again, in the comments when this drops, let us know what you think. But yeah, I listen. I'm here for it. I'm not mad at it. Like,
did you come up with that off the cuff? Just right now? Yeah,
love that.
Love that. It just came to me because you know what? I spend so much time thinking about Devin Hester. I still spend so much of my life thinking about like what could have been in that Super Bowl.
Even and before we get back into the list, but another throwback name here that some people that that watch on my era too, Nathan Vasher that was on your team. Nathan Vasher had 108 yards.
Yeah.
Return. I mean, I think it was off the field. Either way, 108 yards to the house, and I was like, that's the thing. So it's like, and this is not hyperbole. Like, I don't know if anyone's had more dynamic return people than Chicago.
I know, I love it.
I could confidently say that. Like, I'm not sure.
So I think the only guy that I was ever jealous of them.
Excuse me.
I was jealous of Pac-Man Jones existing on another team. I wanted him, but then he went insane. But he was a really good kick returner. I kind of like the look of that kid on Cincinnati, Chase Brown, as a kick returner. I really like him. He's got some dynamism. But what you need is a kick
who was the guy from Philly? Was it Philly back in the day? Or
Westbrook?
Yeah, Philly had a good one.
Brian Mitchell.
Yeah.
Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell was really good.
Yeah, I remember. Didn't the Falcons have a good one for a little bit, or was that Cordell Patterson that I'm thinking of?
Well, no, they had David Hester too. They had Hester too for a while. So.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, he broke the record over there. So
Josh Cribbs in Cleveland.
Josh Cribbs, yeah, he was good too. Yeah. So,
obviously, Deion.
I mean,
Deion.
You get it all here, baby. We can get all to you. So we can talk about kick returns. We talk about who's getting cut off the rankings for the year. Like anything you need, anywhere you want to go, we got you covered, baby. This is what we do.
Yeah, we're all over it. All right. So anyway, we've only just gotten to cross-offs. We're going to cross off the Jags. The Raiders and the Titans, because they won, are going to stay. The Browns are going to stay because they still might have the defensive player of the year on their team. I don't know. We're probably going to cross them off next week. We touched a little bit on the Pats. There's a big deep dive on this feed if you want to go and check them out. I'm not crossing them off yet. I request that we see the Miami game because Miami looked so bad that I want to. It's going to be the worst game of the week, and I want to see how bad it really is. So before we really cross off the Pats, let's do that. All right, Bobby. Talk to me about your Dallas Cowboys. We're doing our teams, and I want to know what it looked like.
Ugly
it was
win.
the Giants.
It was an ugly win.
Well, you got to be able to win ugly, man. That's not necessarily a terrible bounce back.
It doesn't instill any confidence in me, though. It really didn't.
I don't know. I mean, I thought your offense kept it simple.
Yeah.
And I thought your defense limited damage. I thought it was a stop the bleeding game.
It definitely was, but I would have liked. I mean, it was a Thursday night game, so that obviously comes into factor.
I mean, that's part of it, right? I mean, the way the game sort of started off, like the way that they were getting CeeDee Lamb underneath, and like things were starting to move a little bit, and Malik Neighbors. The problem is, I was watching it, and I watched a little bit of Malik Neighbors going into it because obviously he's had highlights hit the screen, but I hadn't sat down and watched a full Giants game. Thank God I've been actually spared that up until this point. But he has been so good because of all the things he has to do to make Daniel Jones look like he's not the worst player on the field still. And I would just love to see him with a competent quarterback because he's so good at turning around and making it so easy on Daniel Jones that they can actually move the ball now a little bit. Right, Saquon-less, they can move the ball a little bit. Now, Dallas's defense hasn't been fantastic, but I thought that they looked a little bit more locked up.
Shut down the run, which
down the run, which is good. I don't know how hard that is to do in a Saquon-less New York, but you did do that.
Considering the 2 weeks before that, we had almost broken NFL records for giving up the most rushing yards. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what you had to.
Wasn't that against Alvin Kamara though?
Kamara and who did we play? Derrick Henry. So yeah, I mean it is
a little different.
Been a tough start for running back. With the running backs you faced over the course of the first few games. I still think the run is the sort of the curse of the Dallas Cowboys this year, though. I think that good running backs are going to run on you, and you guys are not going to run the ball well. That just seems like what this season is looking like, and I just don't know what you can do if you can't build on both sides of that foundation. I think all teams that want to win championships need to be able to do one or both of those things at an elite level. To me, stopping the run is so huge because you've seen it on my team this year. It's like, if you can't build a base from the run game, or at least have it be a threat, if you build the base from the passing game, if you're more of like a, old school Patriots we're running like 3-yard checkdowns every 5 seconds, and we're just going at tempo. And then when we run the ball, it's like a surprise, and you're just because you're always running the ball basically, right? So on one side or the other, you got to be able to build that base. You can't get slashed on the ground easily at the start of games like you did across the first two, and you didn't, right? You didn't in the third game, and I know the Giants are a lot worse, but I'm still not seeing a ton I like in Dallas. I'm really not. It's really not sitting right with me down there.
There's glimpses that you see, like the long pass to CD.
I think CeeDee Lamb's still really tight. He had a better attitude this week.
The long pass to CD. I just don't know. The vibes seem off in Dallas. It's not. There's nothing. In the past 2 years, even at this point, I feel like there was points where I had things to be excited about. The defense, Dak putting up MVP numbers.
I was excited about your defense for the last couple of years.
It's just not the same this year. The only thing I can be excited about is Brandon Aubrey kicked 60-yard field goals literally every single week. So he had another one this week. So I mean,
yeah,
but I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I'll take it. That's all I can say. That's literally what that win said to me is I'll take it. There's nothing that instills confidence in me that this offense is going to be able to move the ball against the Steelers, though.
But I think what I'm seeing. Yeah, I mean that's going to be an interesting game to think and talk about. We'll do that when we get to the Steelers. But spoiler alert, they are in the top 10. So they lost and they're still in there. I don't know how that happened. Bobby, you're really curbing your bias.
I know. I'm trying.
But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I'm seeing is that the coaching is just. I think Mike McCarthy was getting propped up last year by good minds, or at least a very good mind, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That was really making the team look a lot better than it actually is, and it's just not the case anymore. And now Mike McCarthy's exposed more than anything else, I think, because there was just a ton of bad decision making in that game, and has been over the last couple of years, couple games. And I was yelling this at the screen. Last year before, I think your defense, I think properly coached and properly rostered. It was good to watch, but I've been yelling this at the screen about the Bears too. The difference between a good coach and a bad coach in the NFL, it's not this simple, but it is as simple as this. It's being able to make adjustments. It's being able to implement adjustments mid-game. And I think that you did not see that from Dallas in the first two games. I thought you saw that a little bit in game 3. Against the Giants. And I think that should be your glimmer of hope. I think your glimmer of hope should be that they made adjustments in that last game that both between game 2 and game 3, or between game 3 and game 4, I'm sorry, and in the game. Like I saw them actually, trying out different stuff and making changes. What they did with CD didn't work at first. They kind of tweaked it a little bit, and then boom, he slices them for like what was it, an 88-yarder?
55
to the house. Yeah. 55. Someone had an 88-yarder this week, but the glimmer of hope, I think, should be that they're able to make changes and adjustments, and I think it's not. You don't want a coaching staff, because I've seen this too, Matt Nagy, where you're just throwing enough shit at the wall every week to see if something sticks. But you do need to make tweaks, and you do need to make adjustments. And to me, that's what a good coach is. I mean, McVay obviously is losing games this year, but he is absolutely destroyed on the injury front. And at least you see him make adjustments like that seem like smart quality adjustments from a week to week basis. My dream is that he gets fired for completely unfairly this season because he loses too many games and we can just scoop him up in Chicago. That would be amazing. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. Ray, what do you think?
I think I agree with the point that you made about him being propped up by other good football minds. Dan Quinn has been a respected coordinator in this league for a number of years. Once again, he was a bad half away from being a Super Bowl champ, and we look at him differently had they win that game, obviously. But obviously that's forever etched in people's minds about him collapsing or his team collapsing. But yeah, so that's that. But yeah, Mike McCarthy, and I think Mike would appreciate this when he hears this. Mike McCarthy is the Dark Rivers of the NFL. You get that
regular season victories.
Get the regular season victories. Do very well. But then come postseason time, it's always something that kind of just fades off into the sunset. And for some reason, he just has a scheme well enough in the postseason to get the job done. Obviously, you get rid of Kellen Moore, who was liked in that organization, to take over play calling, but it just wasn't something that he's done well enough, in Kellen Moore's absence, obviously. So I don't know. I just think, to me, the team has enough talent, obviously, but obviously now Parsons, I think, dealt with an injury. I think Deron Bland was out for a little bit as well. So when you have key guys out, it makes I know Cooks was injured too. So it's it makes it harder to execute the way you want to when injuries are happening at those key positions. But I know there's no excuse because it's the Cowboys, so people are gonna be like, "We'll figure it out." But so I think they're still gonna have a good season. It's just gonna be more bumps in the road maybe than usual because of the injuries.
Yeah. Did you like Kellen Moore, Bob?
No, I hated Kellen Moore.
Yeah. Hated Kellen Moore. Yeah. Didn't like Kellen Moore.
I mean, I don't think he ran a terrible offense. Though. I just think that
he's so cute. It's mind-boggling the things that he does. He's one of those guys where he ran a trick. The number one play that always stands out to me with Kellen Moore is he ran a trick play 4 plays into the season. It was the 4th play of the season, and Kellen Moore's running trick plays. It's like, dude, is this really the time for this?
No better than Just Sweep Josh.
That shirt became popular. Which boggles my mind.
Where is he now?
Philly.
He is somewhere. Oh, that's right.
They look like shit too.
Well, I don't know if I blame the offensive coordinator there. I think that there's some other problems in that.
I mean, when you're injured, once again, Smith is out, AJ Brown's out.
Yeah,
like you're not winning.
They lost like basically the leader of their offense too. I mean, I know he was the center, but I remember. Yeah. I remember Olin Kreutz in Chicago, and I remember losing him.
Kreutz, wow! I know. Seven. Wow. What a throwback. Oh my God.
I loved him. But when he left, I remember thinking, well, it's not a left tackle. Like we can go find a center, and we haven't since. So
I mean, it's hard. I mean, even with us, right? David Andrews out for the year now, right?
And there was us, Travis Frederick.
Yeah, so that's centers are. They're important,
I think they're a big part of like offensive discipline, and I think what you saw
they call it all the blitzes and stuff. So
yeah, well, a lot of them, yeah. I mean, I think they'll probably point out the mic sometimes, but I feel like if you're like Pat Mahomes and your fucking center's like doing all that talking, you're probably like, dude, shut the fuck up. I can see it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's fine. Like let me do all the let me say every single thing. Like, we're good. Yeah. So, but I get for most quarterbacks, I'm sure it's absolutely indispensable. But I think that the center position is obviously the one with the most disco on it in the offensive line, and I think that is a big deal that they lost Kelsey.
Yeah.
I wish they would stop having him like come into like commentary booths like halfway through games though, and like being like, he's here to visit, and then you like lose Troy Aikman in a game where stuff is happening. He's just gone from the sort of the commentary, and like it's just Joe Buck and Kelsey talking to each other, and it's like really weird. Just put him in the room, put him in the controller, in the presenter's box somewhere else. It's totally fine. In fact, I think the same thing about Tom Brady. He needs to just go be on a panel show. He's a great looking guy. Put him on TV. No, I don't want to hear his fucking voice. His voice is awful. Just put him on fucking television. That's what you got to do with a guy like that. He's a game show host face. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, that's Dallas. I think it remains to be seen. You beat the team you should have beat. Yep. I would have liked it to be a little bit more convincing. I'm sure you would have liked it to be a little bit more convincing. But we got to keep watch, because I still think you have a chance to win that division, considering everything that's been going on around you. You could potentially. How many games do you think you need to win that division?
I mean, at least 9, 10.
You think 9? I think you could squeak by with 9 at this point. Looking at what's going on around you.
They look pretty freaking good.
I think they're going to fall off.
We're gonna talk about a team later on in that division. Big market cheese there. I don't know. I think double digits gets it done. It's just a matter of who
gets there first. Race to 10. Race to 10 in the NFC. What are you, the NFC South? East.
East.
Yeah. No, it's only a team in Texas. They're in the NFC East. Fucking divisions are so broken. All right. Did you ever see that map of like if the divisions were like correctly like done by geography? Like everybody played teams like in their division that were actually like somewhat near them. And the one that obviously the biggest change is New England. Like, why do you guys go down and play the fucking Dolphins? Like, that makes absolutely no sense geographically. Whatever. I must read up on the history of like how they came up with all these. It's probably because they kept doing expansion teams, right? And they had to just like move stuff around.
Well, yeah, because I mean, remember there was when we were growing up, the Colts and the Patriots were in the same division.
Yeah, that's right. Because then the Texans came in when we were like in 5th grade.
Right.
And then everything
and then they beat the Cowboys their first game ever existing.
Yeah, and then they didn't win a game for 7 years.
So
they were so consistently bad. That's when expansion
took over. So yes, sir.
Expansion teams in football will do that. In hockey, because of how that draft works, you can literally just become immediately sick, right?
Yep, Vegas.
Yeah, look at Vegas. It's let's just take everybody's best player. I like the way that old school basketball expansions worked, where they were everybody gets to protect 7 guys, right? And then you can go build a team after that. And it's you can find some gems in there. You're not giving them a terrible team to start off. And the only reason I know that that's how it used to be is because of that mode on 2K.
Yes.
About Bobby.
I was just thinking about that. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was you could go back, Ray, and in the last few 2Ks, you start your GM career in whatever year you want. So you can start off with the 85 Celtics or whatever, and you have Larry and everybody, and it's just it's so unfair because you can read the draft better than any other fucking computer controlled GM. It'd be fun to play with other people, I think, but you're just yeah, I got to trade up to get Shaq. Obviously I got to trade up to get Shaq. That's how every playthrough of that always seems to go. All right, to touch quickly on my Chicago Bears, also sort of the same thing, I think, situation you were in, Bobby. I thought they did enough. I was begging for offensive changes after I was in the tape room after that fucking Colts game. I was watching blocking schemes where 5'9" punt returners were set up on blocks in the end zone. I was befuddled by the speed option that lost us 12 yards on 4th and goal and 1. I was really worried about this Bears team, and I think a lot of noises came out during the week. That Waldron was copping to a lot of his mistakes, and the offensive captains were stepping up, and we want to be coached. And I'm that can go one of two ways, right? This early in the season, when you're sort of hearing noises, it could be okay, that's good. The locker room's still together. They still think they're better than their performances are. Maybe we can turn some stuff around. And I do think that locker room is united. And I think it was the best thing about the team last year. And I think it's probably going to be the best thing about the team this year. It was helpful that Mercedes Lewis got his record-breaking game this game, so that we could see some sort of team unity around something, right? Coming in, and he played a great game. He was out there showing Gerald Everett how to fucking block. I'll tell you that much. It's not great, and Ray, I know you experienced this too. It's not great when all you're looking at is your O-line in every single offensive play of the game, and what they're actually doing. The whole left side of the Bears offensive line can't drop. They cannot drop. They have to block at the line of scrimmage. They don't have the footwork to drop backwards. I don't know why. I don't know why they're not creating bigger, wider pockets for Caleb. I don't know why they're not slingshotting DNs around the back of him to be able to step up, because I'm looking at Caleb Williams and he's getting better week on week. And thank you, Ray, for touching on that on the other show. He's getting better week on week. And he has also been given the keys to the offense a little bit, which I really do appreciate from them. Because I think I'm starting to believe that the best thing about Caleb Williams might be actually his understanding of the position that he's playing in the game that he's playing, which is great news if you're a Chicago Bears fan.
That's what I was saying to you early on, where I felt and now obviously weeks 1 and 2 wasn't great stat wise, right?
Right.
Obviously, it was things that he did well, and they did enough.
Moments. There was little moments you're watching out for.
Moments that stood up, right? That stood out, right? But now you see, okay, making a throw here on the third down, or getting a run here, getting a run there. So, obviously, the game is starting to slow down, and when that happens, there's more tape on Caleb, but guess what? He's got tape on y'all too. Yeah. It's not necessarily we always go down there's more tape on so now it's more difficult. Hey, I got tape on y'all too. Y'all can't stop me. I'm gonna find. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna find Komet on that 3rd and 8 because he can run a seam route here, or he can run an option route, or I'm gonna get Keenan Allen on that comeback right here because that guy was too far off him, or I'm gonna dump it off to the running back here because these linemen keep pushing up the field, or I can run the screen here. So
I agree. I mean, I think his reads are happening so much.
So it's there. It's there.
And what?
Yep, it's there. So I think that he's like I say, he's gonna be special. And obviously, like I said, there's always going to be bumps in the road. Like every quarterback, there's no perfect quarterback. But like I said, I like the progression he's made. It just speaks to his talent. But it speaks to the organization doing what they could so accelerate his success.
He's finally learning that he can't squeeze those balls in that he used to be able to do in college. You know what I mean? The ones where it's like double coverage in college, he'd be able to squeeze that ball. He's learning he can't do that in the NFL.
No, that one of DJ Moore was nice though. I was like, ooh, I was like, shish.
You know what's funny about that play too, Ray? That the TD, right? The first TD you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like right where he just put it exactly where only Moore could catch it. And like he also recognized, I think, that a linebacker had switched to DJ Moore and he had his back to him, which I think is really important too, because he's like, 54 is there? Like, no. Like you need your QB to be doing shit like that, right? Because it means he's paying attention to the game. But he had that wasn't even my favorite pass of his of the game. My favorite pass of his was the big 25-yarder across the top to Cole Kmet. Because there was one camera angle from right behind Caleb Williams where he throws it, and I swear to God the pocket for that pass is about this big. It's about the size of a football, and he drills it right through the middle, right in the only place that it's not going to get tipped or intercepted, and it is going to get caught by Cole Kmet. It was a confident throw. Which I really want to see. I want to see more of that. You know, like I want him to be him, right? Like as much as possible. Downsides, there's still something weird about the deep ball. He's like throwing it too hard, which like maybe is like excitement or nerves, because like there's just across every game this season, there's just always been at least one, if not 3 or 4 throws where it's probably a touchdown if he like hits the guy in stride, and he just rifles it like a little too high or a little too ahead of the guy. And there's a little bit of disjointment with the communication of the wide receivers. And I have to say, I mean, I can't believe I knew I was going to come on and say this, and I can't believe that I'm gonna, because I didn't see this coming, but DJ Moore has been ass. His effort has been really, really low. You can always tell when he doesn't expect to get the ball, which is the worst fucking quality in a wide receiver. His route running has been, I would call it sluggish. I would call it loose. Even the route that he catches the TD, like he doesn't even cut hard to like really like do what he should be doing. He should be seeing that he's got a middle linebacker on him and he's about to torch this fucking dude, right? Like he should really kill him. But he doesn't. And he's got his general demeanor on the sideline sucks. I think he might have a case of got bagitis. You know, I think he got his bag, and now all of a sudden maybe the tune has changed a little bit. And he was real high on Justin Fields as a QB, and now Caleb's his QB. It's weird to me. I don't like his overall approach. It's not sitting right with me. I know we have other options, but
and that's the last point is what I wanted to focus on. So I think part of it is getting the bag. I mean, obviously the contracts can change drastically in the NFL.
He's the 10th highest player in the NFL now. You know, I mean, he's got money.
Right. But I think what happens too, right? When you were brought over last year to be the guy, not a guy, but the guy, right? Obviously, it was widely known that once the record for Carolina was awful, who was going to get the number 1 pick? You know, Caleb was going to be that guy. Then you go get Roman Duzay, you go get Keenan Allen. Obviously, you want to feature Cole Kmet more. I think what happens is naturally, right? It's naturally like, damn, like, well, man, like, all right, like, it's cool that we getting these guys here as weapons, but shit, I was the guy in Carolina, like, I was the guy here last year, like, I could be the number 1, and not understanding that, yes, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Roman Duzay, like, their success, to go always Celtics, and Ubuntu, your success is tied to me. So if you do well, then I'm gonna do well, and if I do well, y'all gonna do well. So I think once he learns that the purpose of him being out there is for the Chicago Bears to score and not DJ Moore to score, then we'll see him unlock, what he was in Carolina, and what he was at times last year for y'all.
Well, my worry, Ray, isn't that it's him and his lack of effort, because I do know that we do have other options. We can still move the ball if he's not putting in 100% effort. My worry is, and I know this as a New England Patriots fan, is a legitimate thing that matters. My worry is that it's being allowed. My worry is that if the tape gets put up on a giant fucking monitor in a big stadium seating type room every week, and you don't give a fuck that everybody's looking at you just like run ass routes and like not like run your decoy routes like like shit, where like you can tell that the cornerback just leaves you there because he knows that it's going to be a run, or it's designed to go to the other side of the field or whatever it is. That to me, it's like, dude, come on, like you got to call his ass out for that, and it's been like this for a few games now. Bad sideline demeanor, doesn't seem to be communicating well with the franchise QB, and it's like, bro, honestly, there's situations. Davante Adams, if you're mad that Gardner Minshew is throwing you the ball, everybody's going to understand. Everybody's going to understand. It sucks. Your life fucking sucks right now. Like, Gardner Minshew sucks. We saw you do the tape of Jimmy G, like, trying to get you killed. The man who kept the least amount of receivers safe in his whole career and himself safe in his whole career. Fucking kamikaze Jimmy. Yeah, all good. Everybody's cool with it, right? Like, everybody's fine. If you turn on Caleb Williams, like, no one's going to be on your side.
That's not going to go well.
No one's going to be on your side. Like, everyone's going to be like, dude, he's a fucking rookie quarterback. Like, he's trying his fucking best. Shut up. Try hard for him. That's what everyone's going to think, inside and outside of the Bears organization. So don't pick that fight, first of all. Secondly, I mean, he doesn't care because he got his bag right. But you know what? NFL contracts, hate to say it, DJ. I mean, I support the working man, but they're easy to get out on the back end. Like that back end money isn't fucking guaranteed, my friend.
Maybe. And I think we said a little bit earlier in the show. We was going in all the different directions, but I'll bring it back up. Maybe they throw him out as a carrot for Davante and say, here, Vegas. And take DJ Moore and we'll get Davante Adams back in return. Have Davante, Rome, and Keenan Allen.
Beautiful.
I just can't.
It's like, watch out. So
don't put those evil thoughts in my head, Ricky Bobby. Oh my God, especially because he's a former Packer. Like I would just be. I'll be so tight. Listen, yeah. Here's the thing I like about the Bears, and I just want to be on record with you guys going forward. The defense is good.
Defense is really good. Really good.
Yeah. I said it going into the season. The secondary is not even playing up to their standard right now. We can stop the run. Our linebackers are there on every play. Brutal. The pass rush is getting better. The interior is getting better. Those guys are young, but we have a fucking 6'7", 355-pound defensive tackle that, even if he sucks, he's still huge. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. The blocking was better because we weren't having a lot of wide receiver blocks. There's still moments. There was a moment, and this resulted in a first down, but it's one I wanted to point out. Caleb swipes away his back, and he goes empty backfield. And it's like a decoy run on the outside by DJ Moore, by Swift. And Rome Odunze's on the secondary outside, like backed up. And then Cole Kmet is at the kind of the bubble screen area. He goes into the bubble screen and blocks. And then we go to Rome. And Rome makes like the first down. He makes like 5 yards. Everybody claps. But I'm like, just switch those two guys, please. Like, have Kmet be the one who catches that ball. Because like that's a situation where your tight end bulldozes the first guy. You get a 2-second block by a wide receiver and he's fucking gone. Like he just slashes across the middle. It's all over. On that note, I wish they would use Rome Odunze. I was actually talking to your buddy because we were talking trades, Bobby, where I was talking to your buddy Mike about this. Rome Odunze is a stud. Like he is a fucking stud. He's just not being used correctly right now. He needs slashing routes across the middle where he can make tough contested catches. That's the kind of game that he plays. That's the kind of game he played in college. His contested catch statistics are insane. Like he basically won 93.8% or something like that of his like contested catches in college. Like it's crazy. So what you need to do is you need to put him not necessarily in the slot, but like not as your primary slot guy. Trips, put him on a little bit on the outside and bunch. Like just give him little inside out plays where he can make the Tom Brady catch. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady would have fucking loved this guy. I swear to God, he would have fucking loved him. So, but we're kind of trying to use him like a bully outside. Like, we're trying to put him into weird little bubble screens and going over the top to him, but we're not switching him onto the right guy on man coverage. We don't read the zone versus man stuff super well defensively. That would be my one critique, but Caleb seems to be able to see it. He seems to be able to see it already, which is it's okay. It's going to be okay. I think they were playing the scoreboard a lot too in that game. There was a lot of decision making down the stretch where it was like, all right, we're playing the score here. Like, let's just get it done. I don't know if it would have gone the same way if Puka and Cooper Kupp were in there, but I don't know. I thought the defense looked okay.
You finally got a Swift game too. Swift road program.
Well, they used him fucking correctly, dude. And it's like they had Rayshawn Johnson out there running north south. And you know why that's a good idea? Because he's a north south back,
right?
And he always fucking has been, and he's good. And Shane Waldron's coming out and being like, yeah, I mean, Khalil Herbert's like obviously our goal line back. I'm like, Khalil Herbert? I just took Khalil Herbert out of my pocket. Khalil Herbert's fucking tiny. What are you doing playing to him? Are you fucking stupid? And then DeAndre Swift, he's a gadget back, dude. Like you use him on counters. You use him on, screens, stretch plays, like, and they're running them in the lanes. Like, they're running them up and down. It's like, guys, like, it doesn't work like this. Like, if you're going to run a West Coast zone offense, then run it. Then fucking run it. Like, the DeAndre Swift's perfect for that. Go fucking do it. Like, what are you doing? To your point about Kellen Moore getting too cute. I mean, Waldron got cute a couple times in this game, but I appreciated that they were like smart times to do it. Like the times where it's like, we need a third down. We got to do something we know they're not expecting. We got to keep the defense on their toes. Caleb is running tempo well, which I want to see more of. Obviously, like that's the thing to do to tire out defenses and march down the field. If you can do that effectively, great. We got a guy with a good mind under center. And last thing I'll say is he was under center a lot more, which I think for a rookie QB, let's start him out there. Let's give him a little bit of fucking room to work, play actions, rollouts. Like, let's give him a few plays to just get him into the goddamn game, because I love that they have a lot of faith in him. I really do. But making him into Tom Brady's fucking throwing package, like week 3, is a little much. Don't you think? Like, like empty backfield, like, like switch to pistol, switch out. 2 guys, it's like, guys, just under center. Let's just get into the weak or the I formations once or twice to just get him a few yards and put him in decent situations. But I appreciate that they trust him. I think he's looking better week on week. And I refuse to believe that it was the number 2 pick in last year's draft that is truly the special talent coming out of that year, because he has looked great. And we will come on and talk about them. But let me roll through the honorable mentions. Chargers looked okay, right? That Harbaugh defense looked all right. They played the Chiefs. They played them to a competitive game. Fair enough. Bengals, offense is looking like it's rolling. Defense is pretty bad still. Jump in if you have any hot takes on any of these teams as I fire through them. Falcons, Kirk still looks a little stiff,
lost,
but he looks a little stiff, and he's not fully utilizing all the weapons they have there. But they did beat the Saints, and Bobby, it seems like you're high on them, so it is a win against a team that's put up a lot of points, even though I think we all knew that Derek Carr was going to become, turn back into a pumpkin at some point. Probably sooner rather than later.
It was actually a close game, unlike most.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Falcons have the Bucs next. I think we'll see a lot there. I think that people are pretty high on the Bucs right now. Saints, I just know they're not good. I know that they're not going to be like They have really good offensive weapons, but like we called them winning like 8 or 9 games. I think that's 7 or 8. I think we called them. I think 7 or 8 is still realistic for me. Maybe 8.
I think we'll learn a lot about them this week. I know that's like the number one thing that we say, but
I know, but it's true. I mean, it's true. So. I mean, they're going to go play the Chiefs, so we'll see. If they can hang in that game, then maybe. I mean, it's a tough schedule. Pack show, weird game. Jordan Love showed up in a Brett Favre jersey and then had the most fucking Brett Favre game of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He threw a bunch of picks in the first half. I was declaring his career dead on arrival because I like to overreact about Packers quarterbacks because I have to, because I hate them. And then he came back and played a great comeback game. They didn't get it done, but they looked like they could. Vikings looked like what I thought the Vikings were going to look like in the second half. Anything crazy out of that game, guys?
I'm with you on the Jordan Love thing, 100%. I was ready to call. I've been ready to call Jordan Love's career over. Because I just don't think he's as good as everyone says he is.
The career over being hyperbole.
Right, well, of course.
Yes.
But
it's like when Craig was like, Pat Mahomes won't be in the league for 2 more years. And he won as many Super Bowls.
But, yeah, I mean, nice Craig popped back in real quick.
He's always listening.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I don't think I'm the lone Jordan Love supporter. I don't know if Mike likes Jordan Love or not, but
he does.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, once again, I didn't think that he'd be as good as he became. Obviously, like I thought that he'd be decent. He did show me something in that playoff game against y'all. That's why I was like, okay, like maybe he can build up this going forward. And like you said, the Brett Favre comparison was perfect because there was no bigger gunslinger in his heyday than Brett Favre, and it's like that's literally what Jordan Love has become. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers had his moments too as a gunslinger, so he just didn't throw as many picks as those guys would. But that's literally,
you can't throw as many picks as Brett Favre. He's thrown the most picks.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like I think to me he's, as long as he's healthy, like I said, they're gonna have a shot to at least get into the playoffs. I don't think they make a super deep run. I think they get to the division round at best, like they did last year. But we'll see. But I mean, they, Josh Jacobs and Reed and
Wicks looks pretty good.
Yeah, so I feel like they got some.
Dobbs
isn't bad. Wicks is definitely the guy that.
Yeah, Dobbs is good too. One more Dobbs, he's good too. Yeah, so it's like they've got some talent there. So hopefully for them, like I said, they all grow. But we'll see. Like, but time will tell because it could all fall down. But right now, I think they have a good shot to go on a nice little run for the rest of the season.
I think the overall consensus is they're probably going to get it right. It's been a weird year for them so far, and him specifically, Jordan Love. I think that it's telling that nobody dropped any of those guys you just named in fantasy football, right? Like everybody's like, none of those guys have really put up numbers, and everybody's just like, all right, so like Jordan Love's going to get the keys again, and he's going to come back. He looked a little rusty, shook off the rust. He looked a lot better. I think they're still going to win a good amount of games. I hate to admit it. Okay, moving right along. Can we have a brief talk about the Colts, or should we wait until in the context of the Steelers when we get to
They're so weird.
Are they weirdly good?
I mean,
go ahead.
We don't know what Anthony Richardson is. I think it all comes down to him.
Yeah, he's an enigma.
We really have no idea what's going on with him because
he's like the Riddler.
Because they kept saying he's.
That's very George Carl like
this highly touted prospect, and now all of a sudden Joe Flacco comes in and takes a team that was struggling under Anthony Richardson the past 2 weeks and leads them to a win against probably the best defense in the NFL right now.
They looked weird though. The defense had they looked like they had a little bit of low iron or something coming into the day. Like they couldn't. I mean, I hope this isn't true for the Steelers moving forward, and I think it's whatever to just do this now. I hope that the Colts didn't figure something out because they couldn't get to the QB. The Steelers could not get to the QB that day. Obviously, it was the second most game I paid attention to in my house. Dual screened it. One screen obviously had the Steelers on, one the Bears. And it was a nice kind of – you ever get into that nice rhythm when there's two games on where there doesn't ever seem like there's a play going on at the same time and you're just really – it's a nice back and forth. Bobby, yes, I know you know what I'm talking about. But it was a nice little rhythm at the top of the day. But they couldn't get to the QB. They could not pressure the QB. And once they couldn't pressure the QB, they didn't look like the same defense. And I just hope that they haven't put something on tape about that team where it's like, this is how you stop them getting to you. And if you do that, you're kind of good, right? Because we've seen that in other incidences. But in saying that,
everyone doesn't have Quentin Nelson though on their line.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's 100% true. You're not going to have. But that's what I mean. Are they weirdly good? Are they fucking weirdly good?
I think that Richardson has to. I think once again he has to think through the game a little bit better. I think that he's very prone to use the athleticism and not think the game as a QB should at that position.
Is he not responsible for 2, possibly 3 of the worst 10 throws of the first 4 weeks?
He is, dude. Anthony Richardson has.
He also has one of the best throws of the first few weeks too.
Enigma.
It's the enigma, right? There you go. Right? There you go. So, he once again super talented, right? Like you see flashes of why they picked him as high as they picked him, last season. But once again, if you want to be the guy that gets that second, third contract, right? You have to play the game smarter.
And you can't have Joe Flacco come in and fucking show you up.
Right, exactly. Where you can't have
that's some fucking Deshaun Watson.
That is Deshaun Watson.
55-year-old. You have 55-year-old Joe Flacco coming in.
You have 63-year-old Joe Flacco coming in and fucking taking over for you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
you have 79-year-old Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
86-year-old.
Exactly.
That man is 106 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So, but it's amazing the resurgence that he's had too, right, late in his career. I think a lot of people, and probably including himself, thought it was over. But it's amazing to see what he's come into the last few seasons. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think styles make fights, and maybe they just had Pittsburgh's number. Sometimes I think you come into a game thinking, as long as we keep it close, we got them, and maybe that's what Pittsburgh thought that day. Which I'm sure
that's how they play every game, isn't it? Like I feel like they're just like,
especially against a team like that. Where the Colts are like more like a tweener, right? They're like there's games where you like, man, like Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, like these boys can go with anybody.
Jonathan Taylor's having a season.
Like, yeah, and then like he's a beast. But then you have some moments where you're like, okay, like I can see where they can go 6-11 or 5-12, right? So they're that tweener team that you're like, man, can they figure it out? Will they figure it out? But it still remains to be seen. They have a lot left to be desired, in my opinion. But I'm hoping that Anthony Richardson can figure it out and stay healthy, because if they do, I think they'll be very exciting to watch in the future.
Bob, anything else on the Colts?
No, we're good.
Nah, fuck them. The Bucks, they fucking smashed the Eagles. I don't know if that's a damning indictment of the Eagles, who are not on the top 10, by the way, or if that is a real sign that this Buccaneers team might actually have some.
I think it's a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, facts. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I believe in this Bucks team, to be honest with you.
Well, they have the weapons, and it depends on Baker, man. It really does.
That's my point. That's my point. Like I think, but
he's been all right.
He's figured it out down there. I'm sorry, like he's figured it out down there.
He shouldn't be saying things like it was stressful when Tom Brady was the QB here. Like, don't go on that. To me, like Baker's thing is like he's a little short-sighted. He's excitable, and he's done good over the first 4 games in the regular season of the 2024-2025 NFL season. And then he's coming out and saying, I mean, listen, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe this is excitement or, just slip of the tongue or, maybe he regrets or whatever. You come out and you say something like Tom Brady, when he was here, the vibe I get from everyone that is still here, which is bucking everybody. Actually, they've kept like the majority of that team together. It was stressful. It was like stressful. And I really liked Brady's response, to be totally honest with you, because it
was amazing.
I'm paraphrasing, but it's the best thing he's done as a media pundit all fucking year. When he came out and he was like, yeah, it should be fucking stressful. If I wanted relaxation, I'd take my kids to fucking Disneyland. I was there to win Super Bowls. And honestly, motherfucker, you look stupid now, because the GOAT came out and said, I was there to win. And you're just like, I like my teammates, and we've looked pretty good across the first 4 weeks. Shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Don't say that shit.
I mean, I think what it was too, right? And once again, that was, if we get that type of Brady, I'm here for it, right? For the rest of the season. That's the case.
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot. That's the guy we all thought we were getting.
They didn't tap into the cycle, Tom, because that's what we need.
Be the character. It's all about making a character. Be the character.
Yeah, be the character, right? Exactly, right. Be the heel, right?
I wish he called him a pussy. That was the one thing I thought he was missing. The one thing, it was the best moment of his whole media career so far. I mean, it's short-lived as it is so far. I literally thought he was like champing at the bit to be like, fuck that guy. I really liked it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as far as Tampa Bay goes, I feel like last year, I think I was super low on them right away, but then I think they beat Minnesota early on last year, and then they won their first 2 games, right? So it was like, oh, okay, people started looking at them a little differently. Then obviously they get to the playoffs. They beat Philly in the wild card round.
Mike Evans is who I want to tell the Bears organization that Rome Odunze is. Like that's who I was talking about with it.
Yeah, I mean, eventually he's going to that.
That'd be my ideal ceiling for him, to be honest with you, is to become Mike Evans type. He's so much fun to watch.
He's Mr. He's Mr. 1000.
Is it 11 straight years?
Yeah, because he came in. Yep. So, but no, Tampa Bay is in, like they're I think they're kind of where Minnesota was a few years ago, right? Like you could count them for getting that 9, 10, 11 wins, and they may get a playoff victory depending on who they face. And once again, when you have a Hall of Famer and Mike Evans, when you have a really good number 2 and Chris Godwin, you're obviously your play and your style of play is going to heighten a little bit, and that's what we've seen with Baker. And there's some other quarterbacks we'll talk about as
it's a good fit. I'm not saying it's not a good fit.
Good division. The NFC South, Bucks.
I can't believe you said that.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, granted,
it's
now, also
dude.
We fucking absolutely dog walked them.
It's
sneaky okay now. You got the Saints, the Falcons, and the Bucks.
Yeah, but
they're all mid though. They're all mid though. Still, like think about it. None of them were winning shit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're not doing anything, but it's sneaky frisky.
Right.
That's what I mean about the Bucks. Like I think the Bucks are like probably they're a more annoying date on your calendar if you're playing them now. I agree. They've looked all right. They're they're still guys can make your fantasy squad. I get it, but I don't know. Like,
I mean, I think what's
I love how there's not. It's just like I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But you do though.
Yeah, I know exactly. What
you get to. You get to play the Chicago White Sox of your division of the NFL every twice a year. So it's like Panthers. To me, it's like, it's wild. It's wild.
Bears are playing the Panthers next week. We have too many it'd be so embarrassing if we lost this games on our schedule this year. Also the Red Rocket coming back. I mean I'm nervous, but no, I mean fair enough. Yeah, they can win enough games in that division. If the Saints are going to drop off, I think that they're going to drop off. If the Panthers are as beatable as they definitively are, despite looking a little better since they switched out Bryce. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're probably going to see Baker Mayfield in the playoffs at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. Could he have one frisky game? One frisky?
Yeah, I mean, there's not 8 teams better than them. Not right now anyway.
Yeah, there are.
No, it's 18. I'm saying 8 full. I'm saying in the NFC. They got it. They're not gonna make the playoffs.
The NFC is fucking trash. That's the problem. Fucking sucks.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. So there's not. And once again, no one had them being Philly last year. People thought Philly was gonna mop the floor with them.
Yeah.
And they came in there and beat them. So
everybody's been down on Philly this year, though, for good reason.
No, right, but it's based off how last year ended, right? Yeah. And then I think you brought this up, Dave. Like how you lost or how you lose in the postseason, and then that turns into like that shit matters, bro. So that's what I think that's what we're seeing right now. And then couple that with injuries, couple that with your quarterback not getting along with your coach, but what hurts is Sirianni. It's a recipe for disaster. And once again, they lost by 17. It seems that Tampa Bay got their number right now.
Yeah,
but that's just what it is.
I mean, those are all fair points. I think I just think I'm reticent to believe in Baker Mayfield. It'd be funny if he could do shit over there, but I don't know. He's playing all right. He's playing okay. Lastly, in the honorable mentions, I don't know if you guys have anything extensive about the Cardinals. I was personally disappointed. I really thought that was going to be a better game. I thought that they were going to look a lot feistier against the Washington Commanders, but it was one of those games where you're like, are the Commanders fucking good? That offense looks. That's maybe objectively the most fun offense to watch over the first 4 weeks. I think that'd be kind of tough to argue with. They've been electric. I've always loved McLaurin.
I think they've punted.
I think everybody has
3 times in the last 3 games.
Yeah, and I think I think that it's worrying to me. When was the last time both the first overall pick and the second overall pick were both quarterbacks and they were both really good? I don't know. I can't think of it. So I'm a little nervous. But thinking about it, I do think the kid is really talented. I'm on record that Cliff Kingsbury falls off in the latter half of the season, but they have looked electric. I don't know if it's that damning about the Cardinals lost.
He was a play caller, wasn't the issue.
42-14 is pretty damning, though.
As a play caller, he's fine. It's the can you lead the men in the locker room? He's not a great leader of men, but
that's why he loses them second half.
Right. So no, I'm saying, but I'm just saying, hey, I just need you to call plays and just focus on that solely and develop the quarterback. Absolutely.
No, I'm talking about him as an offensive coordinator though. He also falls off. His offenses fall off in the latter half of the season. The numbers are there. So to me, I don't know why that is. I think it's that. And I think it's a big part of the reason why the Commanders are doing good. It's why I've been dying on this hill, Bobby. We talked about this last week. You remember? The offense is really simple. It's a really, really simple offense, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it's who was the team? Who did they play last week? where the team had come in and one of the quarterbacks
Bengals?
was like, "Oh, they just run a college offense. They just run the one of their corners was like, "Oh, they just run a college offense. They don't run like a real NFL offense." And then it was like, "All right, well, this college offense is fucking
go stop it though."
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So that was a good narrative, right? So, but I do think that they are running like a kind of a simple scheme. They're not giving them a shitload of stuff to do, and I think that's a really good idea. But it's also probably why the Cliff Kingsburys of the world sort of tail off towards the end, because it makes it a lot easier to figure out what plays they're going to run as you get more and more and more tape.
Yeah, I mean the read option, he's run a few times and he scored on that Mir Jalen Daniels.
Did you see how good Caleb was on those? Right, he read that fucking curse guy coming around the edge every single time. Every single time he read, and I was like, okay, all right, I'll take that.
So I think if you're running more of those, I think as the season wanes, you may have to dial those back a little bit. But if you're putting McLaurin in a crosser, Ertz on the seam, Brian Robinson was a really good running back, putting him in the flat giving ball 20 times. They have
he's underrated, I think, as a back.
Super
underrated. I think he's like,
agreed.
I think he's really good. I think he should be in a conversation at a different tier than he is a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the man came out to many men. I think
that was so gangster.
Those
gangster.
That alone let me know like he's the real deal. So
I honestly
think about that
might
way,
be the most,
way more than I should. That exact scene,
dude.
Yeah, agreed.
Quite frankly, like that's the thing you have in your head when you're like spacing out in high school, like you just like not paying attention to what the math teacher's saying. No offense, Ray, but you're not paying attention to what the teacher's saying, right. And you're sitting there and you're just doing like fantasies in your head of like the dopest shit. Like you're stopping school shooters. You're fucking, you're fucking saving burning fucking buildings. You're pulling the hottest girl in your math class out of the burning building. Like everything's going great in your head, right? And that's one of those moments where it's like he lived one of those. Like he gets shot, he survives, he comes out to the most savage song ever written about getting shot and surviving, and just blows the fucking roof off the place. And then still doesn't get enough credit. But you know what? If the man ever wants to come on, MTP will absolutely change the theme music to 50 Cent's Many Men. We'll just figure out the lawsuit later, Craig. And we'd love to have you on, buddy, because if anybody rates you highly, it's us here at this point. That is for sure. Fucking savage, dude. I loved that moment so much. That was like my favorite moment of that NFL season. It was so sick. Okay, well, we did all the
in my head now over and over again.
I know. Should we all just go jerk off? Let's all just go jerk off and come back, and then we'll just do the top 10 because we're back on and we're doing the power rankings. All right, 49ers. I don't think there's a ton of conversation to be had here, guys, that we haven't already said.
They're just not
meant to be mean. They're so banged up, and it's not meant for me to be mean to you guys at all, but I think that Ray agrees. He's the most down on the Patriots person I've ever heard. It doesn't mean shit that they won that game. It just doesn't really mean anything. So we'll see. I really need them to get healthy. I hope that they manage to get healthy, but it just seems like a season from hell from the second best team in the NFL coming into the season.
It was a good right game for San Fran. Right?
It was nice they had the Pats though for that.
Well, it was a good right game for them. So
they needed a second to get off the ground. You could see it.
Yeah, so they had already had that loss to Minnesota when people had wrote Minnesota off early on. So I think people were stunned by that. So I think in their minds there was no way we're going to lose to two teams that people thought we should have smacked regardless of who was on the field.
Yeah, so, totally.
There was a quick moment in the third quarter. They get the fumble, they score, make it a 10-point game, and then they snapped out of it. Got back into reality.
That was the most encouraging part of it, I think.
Yeah. Right. And once again, when you get hit with adversity, how do you respond? And
the Pats didn't come out and smack him in the mouth. What you do to a team like the 49ers to win a game like this is you got to come out and hit them right away. Because
first you got to have talent.
Yeah, Pats can't.
Right. First you got to come out and have talent. Then you hit him in the mouth.
Right. First you build a roster.
Right. First you build a professional NFL roster. Then you go say,
I refuse to be this low on the Pats already. I think.
Listen, man, I love you for that. I appreciate that.
I know. I just.
It warms my heart.
I'm in the fucking Ramon J. Stevenson business now. Thanks to you. Thanks for that. Fucking Jesus. If I had played the two running backs I was gonna play before we made that trade, I would have won my game against Craig.
You gave me my first win. I got my first win.
Way to be.
Appreciate you. Because once again, Brian Robinson did great. So shout out to you, Rob, baby. Man, yeah, it's great, man. Awesome.
We don't want to, but the 49ers made the top 10 because of the talent that they have in their roster and what they're going to look like once they get their guys back. The CMC stuff is fucking
pretty brutal.
Arthritis in his. He's got arthritis in his dick. What's going on?
Keep sitting in.
What?
At this moment, would you keep sitting?
You have to. He's seen specialists in Germany and shit.
You have to. Yeah. It's you might. This season might be a wash. His season might be a wash. It's on the table. I don't know if it's 100%.
Yeah,
but
the running back's going crazy right now.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
I forget his name, but he's going crazy.
Mason.
Once again, that's a fucking play system out there.
It's a system. It's a system, but also McCaffrey is McCaffrey. You know, like that. That's
right.
It was that 1-2 punch of like how effective that was. You know,
he's running his father's system.
Remember what that
right?
used
So
to be?
remember in our day. Remember in our day.
Gary.
And Alandis Gary, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis.
Yeah,
they were the first team to have 1,000 yard rushers.
I love Clinton Portis.
Shit was insane. So he's running this basically this plug and play. It does not matter who's back there.
It matters a little when it's not Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
It does. Like it does.
From a fantasy perspective, obviously.
No, from the team that was in the Super Bowl last year because they went and got Christian McCaffrey. From perspective.
Right. They was also in it. They've been in the last 3 out of the 5 years. Like they just don't get it done. I'm sorry. Like they're the new Buffalo Bills right now. Sorry, that's just reality. Or they're us. Like
it makes sense for me to say though. Like, it's not like they're obviously an NFC rival of mine, but like the way that they are as an organization, like I don't want to tar them with that brush because like they're still the fucking San Francisco 49ers, right? Like they're still the team of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. They're still the catch. They're still Dwight Clark in the fucking end zone climbing a ladder to the sky. They're still Steve Young, fucking the first ever real like
that's why they're such a main staple in the power rankings too, because they have that swag to them still to this day.
No,
their fucking jerseys look sick.
They will always have all those moments.
Red and gold is dope.
It's great. You know, but gold rush or not, they haven't got the gold now when it matters.
Hey.
Boom, baby. Is that
history lessons?
History lessons.
The year is 1889. The gold rush is in full swing.
Yeah,
Dance great sweeping the nation is the Lindy Hop. Okay.
Yeah. Just send me a telegram. Yeah.
If you get on the telegram, I was high on laudanum.
There's cocaine in my coke.
I liked the 40.
Yeah.
No, actually, what?
Is that a myth?
Yeah.
Is that a myth?
No, that's true.
Is that a myth?
Well, just a little bit.
That could be. That's one of those things that you hear, you want it to be true, and then you go Google it later, and it turns out it's complete horse shit, right? Don't Google it. Just let it be true. Yeah. It's true to you.
That's right.
Look at Trump supporters. It's just about like what's true to you. It's not. It doesn't matter what's actually true. The Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. They were left out at first.
I still like them. I thought that was a dignified loss.
So you changed your stance on them then?
No, I've liked them.
I changed.
I thought the first one you was kind of on the fence, and then like
I think my worry coming into the season was
Geno Smith.
Like the kind of advanced analytics of it all. A little bit of that, but it was also like I think Pete Carroll's a really good coach.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know if they like lose the guy that's basically I thought was maybe propping them up potentially. But the new guy's good.
McDonald's.
The new guy's legitimately fucking good. Yeah. I know he's like 11 years old or whatever, but he's like I know he's like 6 years old or 3 years old or whatever he is. I think he might be negative 3 years old. He's not even an apple of his father's eye yet. But he seems to be good. He coached a good game. He didn't have as talented of a team as the other team, but he got into a shootout with them. You have to do enough to get into a shootout with a team that I know the Lions are a shootout team. I mean, they are, and they always seem to like win those shootouts. And like they walk this like tightrope with Dan Campbell and the way that he chooses to do things. And the more talented team pulled away at the end. And honestly, it was because David Montgomery decided to make like the most hard-nosed run of the NFL season so far because you just can't take that man down.
Did he
win
every run?
Kicking shit over.
Every runs, right?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Sick. But I hate that we don't have a
He was good for y'all too, though. He was good.
I didn't want to let him go.
He's been solid his whole career. So
it's one of those things where it's like you let David Montgomery go, but then you pay 32 for fucking DeAndre Swift or whatever, and it's like,
why didn't you just
either pay 35 for Derrick Henry or keep fucking David Montgomery? You know what I mean? I thought Swift showed what he is capable of. I think he could potentially justify the price tag, but like I love Monty so fucking much, and like the way they run those two guys,
perfect
in Ben Johnson's offense.
Perfect. I mean,
it's just so plug and play for both of them. It's like it's the best. It's my favorite backfield. I think. I know they're a divisional rival of mine, but I really do like their backfield a lot. But we'll come on to them because they're higher up. We're talking about the Seahawks right now. They look like they can score. You know, they're a team that has very, very talented players. I really respected the fact that Campbell came out and was like, we're just going man on these wide receivers. We're just going to go one-on-one on these wide receivers. And I think the guy's name is like Davis the third. Pretty hard-nosed corner that was on DK Metcalf. And he was playing him tight. You know, it was kind of like the refs could call it or they could not call it. But I don't know. DK Metcalf's like 900 feet tall and like a fucking 400 pounds soaking wet. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I thought he played a good game against him. He seemed really emotional at times, which, you know, was encouraging to me. And that's a ballsy call from the Seahawks to be like, fuck it. We're playing DK Metcalf 1v1. And you're going to lose sometimes. But here's the thing. You're going to lose sometimes to DK Metcalf in the zone too. Like he'll fucking slice you up in there if you give him a head of steam. Don't let him get a fucking head of steam on you either, right? Tyler Lockett, they sort of kept him quiet, you know. I think, and he obviously had a couple big plays, but for large swaths of the game, I respected it. I thought the Seahawks looked pretty good having Walker come back in. I'll tell you that much. I think that they got Charbonnet and Walker are a pretty good tandem in their own right. Yeah. Do I wish Swift was a better quarterback? Yeah. What?
That's a pretty good liquor too.
Yeah,
that just sounds like a liquor.
yeah, pretty. Yeah, they're both great.
I think Geno Smith broke the record for like the most passing attempts for Seahawks ever in this game, which
that's crazy.
Yeah, 50.
I mean, they haven't really had even before we would watch them religiously. Like, I mean, what Jim Zorn back in the day?
Yeah.
Dave Creed.
Even Russ though.
Russ, right? You know,
like it was pretty much like Russ. A great Russ game was like
Hasselbeck, you know. So yeah, so
no,
we're gonna score.
Yeah. But a really lethal Russ game, like when he was going on his like championship runs, he'd get you for like he'd be like 22 for 27, like 2 TDs.
And like 280.
Yeah, 58 yards rushing and fucking like 250 yards throwing, whatever, you know. And you just be like, but that they killed you, right? Because like the Legion of Boom and like all the way the defense was playing and the way Marshawn Lynch played, and like you just look at all these other things. I mean, Russ was great, but he was like an efficiency guy, right?
Yeah.
He was like a make plays to win guy, but
right.
He wasn't like a big air raid dude at any point in his career.
But I mean, I don't have it in front of me. I didn't write it down earlier, but I think Geno threw for 390.
395.
So 395. So, and this is just to take a shot at New York again because I love to, just like how Dave does with Green Bay. Jets fans got to be sick. Got to be. You got to be sick that a guy that you drafted second round out of West Virginia, that Rex Ryan thought that eventually he'd be a decent quarterback. You know, obviously, you know, and like I said, gave a great press conference. Hey, they wrote me off. I didn't write back. Dude has been amazing in Seattle. I can't believe, once again, him and Baker in that same category, right? Like guys that you thought just wasn't going to figure it out. You know, once again, I think that I would take Evans and Godwin over Lockett and Metcalf.
Even though Metcalf can sustain it though.
It's a month. But he has though. No, I
think didn't he
have? Yeah, thank you for that. But I forgot about him too. But yeah, it's like
I mean, off pretty hard. Like the game tape seemed to catch up with him a little bit last season. Don't you think?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, regular season wise, yes. I mean, yes. Obviously, what you do in December is what's going to be etched in our minds as fans and as pundits. But I mean, once again, I don't think his play or their play in general is sustainable. You know, come December and January. But I mean, I think that just coming up to that, it's amazing to me. Once again, he plays so well that it earned him another $100 million deal. You know, like that's incredible in itself. Like that alone.
Would you be like super happy if your team was signing Geno Smith to a $100 million deal though?
No facts, but I'm saying like obviously.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be a dick. I just
no. I mean, I get it, but I'm saying I'm not saying for him as a person. I don't mean the organization. Like the fact that he found a way to get back to the bag. You said like I just to me, the trajectory or the redemption arc, as they would say, has been. Something to watch. Has been incredible.
I agree.
Regard.
I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm not trying to be a fucking hater. I just like to me, it's like
you give me your opinion on it. So
I mean, I like the Seahawks team. I like the Seahawks team from a talent perspective. I really like their receivers. I told you guys about that commercial I did at their stadium where I met Tyler Lockett. He was super cool. So I've always got a soft spot for him. I'm looking right now at the little thing he autographed for me. So I want them to do well. I'm not trying to be a dick. I got Kenneth Walker on my fantasy team, the third, not the second. I don't think he would net me many points at this point, but I think I want them to do well. It's just like that. It's that you're right that it's the same as like the Baker Mayfield situation where it's like, I don't know, like people are coming out with theories now about the modern NFL. Is quarterback play like as important? Like Brock Purdy, system guy, got to the Super Bowl. Like this, you can be this guy, you can be this guy. You look at Sam Darnold, like he's just. But to me, like I've just been conditioned, like quarterback play determines like what tier of team you're in. You know what I mean? Like how good your QB is. Like, it just does, right?
Like,
so,
but that's always been, and I think,
and it's not to say he's not playing well. I'm not saying he's not playing
right,
well.
but I mean, we get brainwashed, right? Because I feel like they say like, oh, like it was different in the '80s and no, it wasn't. If you didn't have Joe Montana or
Trey
I'm trying to think what. Yeah, Troy Aikman. Like if you didn't have those guys, like let's be real. Like, and yes, once again, there's gonna be someone that hears this says scenarios matter. Yes, they do. We've already admitted to that earlier.
Bears did win in '85 with
right. Yes, Bears won. With
Jimmy Man. So it's just and he has only had one eye. So
no, correct. But once again, but his the way.
Yeah, he was only blind. He was blind in one eye when he won a Super Bowl.
As he was, and then obviously what you had on offense with Walter, obviously. But it's just like in the '90s, obviously, Steve Young's, the Troy Aikmans, the John Elway's. Like if you didn't have those guys, once again, and now Arthur Brady.
I mean, I was gonna say it became like it really got cemented.
Yeah, you had even Big Ben stuck in there and got two. Eli got two. Like you if you didn't have
Big Ben was a top 5 QB. Right. Like I mean, he just was. Like,
no, I know, but I'm saying I didn't see a point where it's
no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
afraid to say that QB
with a couple of exceptions where like a guy that maybe wasn't a top 5 QB had a top 5 QB type performance in the playoffs. Your Flacco's, your Eli Manning's, et cetera, et cetera. With those exceptions in our era, you had to be Tom Brady. You had to be Peyton Manning. You had to be Ben Roethlisberger. You had to be Drew Brees. Like this is just the scenario. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get it. I mean that's what I'm saying. It's just in my DNA. It's just like unless you have Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, unless you have Lamar Jackson, unless you have one of who I consider the best 5 quarterbacks or best 5 guys at their position, however you want to think about it.
And even then, like it's not guaranteed. Like I think about someone in the past that played for Cincinnati long before we were born, but. Bruno Esiason, that man was MVP of the league.
I know.
Got to the Super Bowl and Wax is not it's not bad enough to say like they didn't get off the bus and the game was over.
Yeah.
Game was 55-10. Game was over. So it was ugly.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, oh no.
I mean the rule. I agree with you. The rule of thumb is still true.
Let me correct myself for the fourth. No. 55-10 was the Chargers Super Bowl when they smacked the Chargers with Steve Young. They beat Cincinnati lost to San Francisco in '88. John Taylor scored a game with a touchdown. It was 23-16. Sorry. But either way.
Encyclopedia Ray Tanaka back again.
Yeah.
Back again.
So just in case someone's trying to fact check me, I'm like, this is what I do. So but you can comment. You can comment on there.
You fact check yourself. I thought the rules we weren't gonna fact check. You fact check yourself. I mean, you can't. Nobody can get on you if you're the one making sure to correct everything. Can you name the '85 scoreline?
46-10, right?
Yeah. On the receiving end.
Unfortunately, unfortunately for you, but
yeah. You know them all apparently. I only know that one.
Shuffle. Damn.
Yeah. William the Refrigerator Perry. All right, great. Yes. Great. I love it. We already talked about the Commanders. I think they're interesting to watch. They're now on they're making every primary TV.
If they're on, they're on.
They're good. They're fun. They're fun. If they're on, they're on. I agree. But we have talked about them. The Ravens, this was kind of my one bugaboo with the list, Bobby. I think the Ravens being below, 2 spots below the team that they came out and dog walked on Sunday Night Football, like really fucking smashed the Bills, like really fucked them up. 2 spots below them. You really think the Bills are that much better over the course of 4 weeks?
It was just a matter of where they were previously, I think, because the Bills were already up at 2.
Yeah, you can't drop them down 2. I get it. I get it.
You're just a matter of the list. Yeah. I understand. And listen, we were already catching.
This time last year, you would have punished the Bills. Like, you would have been like, fuck them.
Hey, I'm a much more reasonable man than I was last year, okay?
There you go.
Let that be on the record for all listening. He's a much more reasonable man now. You can see it in the power rankings reflected here, folks.
I mean, the Steelers are a part of the power rankings still, and they lost. So, I mean.
Can't even believe it. I'm besides myself. The Ravens look fucking sick. Dude, Derrick Henry's superhuman. I gotta say,
this is what I'm talking about. Why, like, you can't overreact to the first 2 weeks of the season. It's just you cannot do it.
No. You can't overreact to the first 4 weeks of the season, Bobby, but don't bring down the whole house of cards just yet, because that's kind of what we're here to do.
But it's just when you have a team like the Ravens, you know exactly who they are. You know,
this is the argument we have.
We already know exactly who they are, what team they want to be, what team they strive to be, and the team that's gonna show up on most Sundays.
Just watch them. Just watch them. Just watch them play. Like, I know that they started off 1-2, but just watch them play football, dude. Like, if you want to go and look at their record and say, my hot take is they're not good.
You're wrong. And you're wrong
because you didn't watch them play football. Like, they had one bad week. I think so far, to me, they haven't looked themselves 1 week, and I think everybody gets one. Right? If you looked apart 3 out of 4
even that
weeks,
game, they had a 10-point lead.
Nah, they
had a 10-point lead with what, like 7 minutes left or something like that.
You can't be losing to the Raiders. They got to wear that one, Ray. They got to wear that one, right?
No. I mean, for sure, especially when you know that you're the better team, like that. That can't.
Yeah, but they might have known that a little too much that week, maybe.
No, right. Losses happen that we speak about all the time. Like, losses happen, and once again, it's not when or where you lose; it's how you lose. And like you said, Bobby, you can't. You having a 10-point lead in the fourth, or whatever they had it. Like, you can't be up 10 and blow it to that team. Once again, this is not Kansas City. It's not Buffalo. It's not any other team that's a perennial contender. And on either conference. So that can't happen. And once again, it is any given Sunday, so I get that. But at the same time, like, I think that's the L. Like DK said, you have to just take that on the chin and just keep it moving. But I mean, they've been great. Once again, when you come out the way you came out Sunday, after people had their season dead to right, thought it was a wrap. They've come out and said, we're here to stay. And it's amazing what happens when you lean on the guy that you brought into the offseason to alleviate some of that stress off Lamar Jackson. And it's amazing how much better they look offensively with 22 going crazy back there.
Dude, that fucking ground game is insane.
There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's literally nothing you can do to stop it.
They have fucking howitzer tanks back there. Like, they're just rolling across the French fucking border. The year is 1940, and there's nothing you can do to stop them, The Maginot Line was a bad idea, everybody. The Nazis have taken over France. I'm not saying that they're Nazis. I'm saying they have howitzers. They have huge fucking tanks that they're just... And the howitzers are actually smaller, more maneuverable tanks, but not to overextend the metaphor. They're tanks back there. You can't stop Derrick Henry. I don't understand how on that long run... Was that the 88-yarder?
Yeah,
that was the 88-yarder I was thinking of. Okay, cool. On that 88-yard run on Sunday Night Football, the first fucking offensive play of the game, if I'm not mistaken, they couldn't catch him. The guy's so huge. I was like, surely there's a safety that's going to bounce off him, at least, right? Surely there's like a Gronkowski type hit that's going to happen across the middle of the field. My man hit open space and then went up a gear. And didn't look like he was running that fast, but
be honest though. If you're a safety, whether it's free safety,
you don't want that.
You're not
right. So let's be real. If you see him run through the gap on the stretch play, and he gets to the second level, and he's out. Now, once again, for take purposes.
I got you.
No, stop. Wait.
For take purposes, you have to run to make it seem like you're chasing after him, right? But let's be real. Those guys weren't running full speed to catch him. They wasn't running full speed.
No.
They was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a business decision and just let him. I'm gonna be part of this highlight regardless. But they saw what happened in Jacksonville a few years back.
What happened in Dallas the week before?
Yeah.
No, but that Jacksonville run on Thursday night a few years back, where push it that way, went 99 yards. Like I would say, oh my God. Dude is special. But yeah, a man that's that big should not be able to move that fast. Like
the common wisdom of this, how they built. I guess I was kind of buying into it. It feels so stupid looking back at it now, but the idea that everyone kept espousing of the fact that like Derrick Henry's been an I formation running back his whole career. Lamar needs to be in the shotgun to see the field and like, decide on his options or like move or whatever. And now you look at it and it's like, no, it's fine. Lamar can just go under center. In fact, it'll be totally cool because it's like he can move too, right? Like now you don't know who's going to have the ball in their hands. Now you don't know. And like they still have fucking Zay Flowers going on the field. They still have Mark Andrews going down the field.
We should be thankful that they got Derrick Henry now and not a couple years ago.
I know.
And you better be thankful because, man,
I don't know if it makes a difference. Derrick Henry's still pretty damn good.
Dude,
he is, but I'm saying like, but at this is 2020 or 2021, Derrick Henry with Lamar. Look, man, look out.
No, I agree. I mean, it's like,
man,
it's like it's. I think you can go Derrick Henry's career based on like the size of his ass, and like I agree that like slightly smaller ass Derrick Henry was like lethal on the Titans, and I know he's dragging a wagon right now. But watching that thing streak fucking 88 yards, just absolute. Just he looked like fucking Beyonce in the fucking Crazy video. Like it was like. The thing was like, gung, 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 gung. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, look at the fucking size of that guy. And you're just, he's got a way bigger ass now, is essentially what I'm saying, than he did when he was on the Titans. And it's like, he's just, he's eating well. He's eating well. And he's eating well on the field, and he's eating well off the fucking field. And I fucking love watching him play football.
He's amazing to watch. He really is.
Oh, God, so fucking sick. He looks good in that. To take a Bobbyism, he looks good in that Ravens purple, too. It looks like it fits. You know what I mean? Like when McCaffrey, it just looks like it fits.
And also, too, I mean, granted, it wouldn't have happened because he was already retired. But once again, be thankful that he didn't play with Ray Lewis either. Could you imagine?
Oh my God!
I know he had Jamal Lewis. Who was a great running back in his day.
No, he was good. He was fumble prone though, and like, if that was Derrick Henry on that team. If that was Derrick Henry on that team, we would have had two bodies attached to that team. Not just one, by Ray. So,
there you go.
Took you seconds.
That's the second one tonight, baby.
Okay, let's talk their divisional rivals. Let's go across the whatever the fucking bridge is that takes you from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. I'm sure they're right there. I think I don't know very well geography.
I don't think there's a bridge though.
No, there's definitely not a bridge. It's definitely like a long road. Leah's listening to this screaming into her phone right now. But yeah, let's go just down the 80. I think is the freeway where you can go maybe to Baltimore. I know that 80 exists in Pennsylvania anyway, but I like the Steelers across the first 3 weeks. Like I said, I think that their defense they just kind of couldn't get off the bus to steal a Rayism like right after that. Like they really just couldn't get out of the locker room. It looked like they took him a second to get going. The Colts threw a lot of weird shit at him. And then, what I will say is like what I've been saying about Arthur Smith all fucking year. Arthur Smith's a good OC. And one thing that I've always noticed about him is that his offense is when he's the OC, not when he's the head coach. I know everyone's got a bad taste in their mouth because of that Atlanta season. I get it. Mm-hmm. When he's the OC, his teams get better week on week. That's what I've always noticed about his offenses. They get better week on week. He's giving Justin Fields like 2 more plays a week to run. Like just easing him in. And he's doing all the right things. Now this week, they couldn't get that run game going. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, I think that I still. Well, but also, I think really what happened is Warren's out. Cordarrelle went down after having like a pretty good. He was about to have a real Cordarrelle Patterson fucking. Remember him? Shouldn't have slept on him game. I was really excited about that because obviously for reasons we talked about at the top of the show, I'm high on him at all times for the rest of his career.
No, I mean, listen, New England too. He went with us.
Of course, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Atlanta fans probably feel the same way. We all love him. He was looking to have a good game. He got hurt. It all went to Najee, and Najee had one of those fucking Najee games. Just like Arthur Smith was really scheming good blocks for him across the first 3 weeks, but he was doing that thing where he was like running straight into the fucking last of the. Yeah, he just can't hit a fucking hole. Like can't. It's getting at this phrasing, but he can't hit a hole. And yeah, it's weird. It's like his vision fails him or something. I don't know what it is. He doesn't scan right. He doesn't explode at the right times, but that hasn't been the case. They've been scheming good runs for him. He's going to get 95% of the snaps this coming weekend, and that worries me a little bit because I really do think he's a situational back.
But the way I see the Steelers right now is 95% of their games they're not giving up 27 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the defense was weird. It was weird. It was a weird week. But you're right. You're right about the line too. You're right about the line in Indianapolis, right? Like they're low key pretty good.
But if you can get this offensive production from a Steelers team on a week-on-week basis, this team is going to be really, really good because the Steelers are not giving up 22.
That's the level,
right? They're not giving up 27 points every week. I can guarantee you that.
No. And if they keep getting better, man, the sky's the limit.
Well, to your point about Najee Harris being a situational back, that's why I was shocked that they didn't go after Derrick Henry to be with Arthur Smith. Because I feel like it would have been insane to have Henry.
That would be fucking crazy, actually. He's perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
You still got Arthur Smith, the head coaching job, that duo.
Yeah, I know.
Right, but I'm saying,
with that Steelers team, like that's fucking.
That's what I'm saying. And then you still do the Fields trade, so now you're still having that back row where Fields can run. We know he can run, so that would have been lethal too. That'd have been really lethal.
You know what's crazy is Leah and I, the night before the game, we were sitting outside talking about our fantasy football lineups, and the Steelers come up, and we started talking about Fields, and I was like, I was on the podcast, and I was saying to her, I'm really happy he's going to Pittsburgh. Like, I think that they can get some out of him. Obviously, all this stuff in the offseason happened with, like, Russ is number one. Russ gets hurt. Now it's Fields. It's his job to lose, obviously. That night was like, there's a few things, though, that do come up with Justin Fields. And it's not me being a hater because he left, because I think I'm on record to say, I was saying, like, I wanted him to succeed. Me and Justin Fields were still on good terms when we broke up. But he is prone to a turnover. That turnover is prone to be at the worst possible fucking time. And I've never seen him lead a fourth quarter comeback win. Right. So all three of those things happened that I said to Leah the night before, to the point where she was calling me a fucking jinx when we were watching it. Like, at the time, like, I willed it into existence. I was like, just keep your eye out, because, he still is like a little bit more mistake prone. All that stuff did happen. I'm not putting the blame of that loss on Fields. The loss is on the defense. Nobody that watched that game should be saying. I looked at the Steelers Reddit for a second, and it was like, Fields needs to, and it's like, dude, guys, the defense lost that game for you. But that's fine. They have broad shoulders. They can take it. They're a great defense. They're a great unit. They're going to be better next week. It's all good. It happens. Sometimes offenses win. The rules skew offense, so like it's going to happen. So speaking of which, just as a quick aside, why is no one talking about how bad the referees have been? They've been bad. They've been really, 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 really bad. Yeah, like last few years, sneaky bad, and now full blown.
Looking for, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know nobody wants to talk about it because it sucks, but like, do you remember like the year after the refereeing strike? What year was that? Like 2012 or 2013? Like they fucking, people were all over them. Like, they were like, oh, you went to go get your bag and now you fucking suck, because they had a bad year coming off that. Now everyone's like, oh, it's such a shitty call. I think they favor the Chiefs. Oh, whatever. And I just think it's like, guys, can we hold them to a fucking higher standard? I don't recognize a lot of them. I think there's a lot of new guys. Am I mistaken in saying that? There seems to be like a lot of guys I haven't really seen it before.
I mean, it's the same thing with the NBA, right? Like, a lot of guys have been in there for, a long time, but then the guys that were the best referees, like, obviously they're retiring. So,
but like they missed some big calls, but it's these games where it's every play.
Obviously, yeah. No, so part of it's human error, obviously, but I just feel like it's human error. But then it's like, there's some things where you're like, yo, like, they clearly, it was clearly pass interference, or
a lot of bad people, a lot of mistakes.
No call.
That Seahawks game. I mean,
listen,
I know I was high on the way that kid was playing, but that Seahawks game, like DK Metcalf was getting fucking mugged for the whole goddamn game.
Right. And once again, I get that you see what happens is, and we do this in every sport that's a team sport, right? Like you referee certain guys a certain way. So where Gronkowski got ref a certain way, DK Metcalf gets ref a certain way, Megatron got ref a certain way.
Yeah, it didn't fucking matter though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it didn't matter. But it was just like, bro, like you can't like ref the rule book, not the player.
Well, ref the game, not the content.
Oh, ref the game. Yeah, exactly. Like ref the game. Like don't.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Megatron and he's 6'5", like it's unfair. Like, no, well, sorry.
It's not
like
the way it goes.
He's a fucking monster. Sorry. Like it's not.
I mean, I said it. I literally said it on this podcast about DK Metcalf. I'm like, I don't know. It's fucking tough because like it is. I understand your human brain goes that way where you're kind of like, fucking. I don't know. How else are you gonna play DK Metcalf, right? Like your brain does feel for the guy that's covering that dude, right? Like your heart goes out to him.
Then jam.
You're right.
No, but jam him at the line then.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that either. He'll still
yes,
fuck you up.
No, I don't mean to say it so nonchalantly because obviously it's not easy, obviously. But I'm like,
try some shit. Yeah, try some legal shit. I get it. Yeah.
If you can't jam him at the line or
play the ball.
Or play the ball and chip him at the line, like guess what? Like it is what it is. Yeah. So either you get over the top help, or you play cover 3, do something, but
hide a safety somewhere. Hide a safety somewhere to come out late.
Yeah, the man's 6'4", 240. Sorry, you're not doing anything on it. Sorry, that's a man.
It's so crazy. And plus, we have the same name. All right, well, that was fun. I forget what team we were even talking about. Oh yeah, the Steelers. Yo, the Bills look like ass, Bobby, and here they are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. They look like shit. I know that they looked really good across the first 3 weeks, and like we've said about the last 2 teams behind them. The Ravens have lost one game they shouldn't have lost. The Steelers were given a little bit of a break. So I get it. The Bills came out, they played a good team. They didn't really look. It was one of those games. It's like whoever gets out of the blocks first.
Yeah.
Right. And it was impossible for them to catch up.
The Ravens just kicked their ass.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. from moment one. So I mean.
Yeah. But it wasn't that like way you see the Bills lose. Like it wasn't like mistake prone football.
No, they just got their asses kicked.
They just got punched in the fucking mouth and then couldn't get back up. And it's a little early in the season, I think, to damn them too hard for that.
That's exactly my point. Right. And the reason they didn't drop down further is just because the teams below them, they're not quite there. I feel like the Bills are in their own tier right in the middle here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything like groundbreaking because like what a week like this opens up an opportunity for is for us to just kill them right now. And like we talked about earlier, it's like, can we just be reasonable? Like it's not fair.
No, I mean, I think because where were they at last week? Were they 3?
Yeah, 3.
3.
Yep.
Yeah. So from 3 going down to 5, I think once again to knock them down two spots is fair. I think this is more of a like you said, this is more about, is this team going to be formidable, not just for the right now, but going forward? And that answer is a resounding yes, right? Now it's someone's going to hear this tomorrow and feel a certain way. 1, thank you for listening, but 2, oh well.
Love your wings.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that they'll have their moments. My only thing with this is because I love all his pre-draft. I just want Keon Coleman to get on.
He's good.
He just but he really hasn't had a standout game yet. So I want him to have.
Didn't he?
Moment, so
didn't he have a TD catch?
That's what I'm saying. But I need one of those games where it's like, oh, okay, like Keon Coleman has arrived. I think he's probably really great for that locker room, but it's like
another guy I tried picking up on the fucking waiver wire and I didn't get.
Yeah,
like I'm not getting any of my waivers.
Right. You don't want to be a caricature of yourself, so you don't want to be a character out there. So just make sure.
But they're spreading that offense around. Like if we're talking upside on their first 3 weeks, like I do think like this. I said before the season started, Stephon Diggs leaving will be good for Stephon Diggs and it'll be good for the Bills. And I think you've seen that play out because now that they can actually Josh Allen, he's not under the pressure that he was under, especially last year. It was really telling to like try to make plays for Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? It's like Josh Allen needs to be the number one there. You got to go out on Josh Allen's shield, right? Like whatever the Buffalo Bills are going to be, however far they get, whatever they win or don't win, that's going to depend on that guy. They're in the Josh Allen business, right? So when it came down to like Stephon Diggs bitching, whatever, it's Tom Brady. Who was it? Brady said it. What was that interview with all the QBs where somebody was like, I had this guy leave, and then you had this guy leave, and they were talking about all the QBs who had their wide receiver one leave over the course of their career.
It might have been at the Fanatics Fest in New York back in August. I'm
not
at
sure. One point in the interview, Josh Allen's sitting there, and they were like, "Josh, it's going to happen to you." And it does, and this is why this video is doing the Browns in the offseason is like Stephon Diggs goes to the Texans. Obviously, him being there as an additional weapon is great for them. It's great for him. He's got another touchdown catch this week. We'll come on and talk about the Texans, but hey, that's fine. The Bills' offense looks fine. I mean, this week notwithstanding, he's spreading the ball around. It's Josh Allen's world. We're just living in it, and they didn't give them a chance to make it Josh versus Lamar on Sunday night. They didn't make it that. They just came out and fucked him up. So. It was disappointing in the one hand because I wanted to see that duel, but there was no way that was going to go down. Like,
Josh has gotten the best of him so far. I think that's where Lamar gets the criticism that he gets.
You think Josh looks a little better this year, though? Don't you think like him as at quarterback play? Like I think he looks.
Well, he's not making those same stupid mistakes that he's always made.
Yeah.
Right.
When you have to, it's kind of like what happened with Matt Stafford once he lost Megatron, right? Like. You're finding Titus Young. You're finding, the Nate Burlesons. You're finding Marvin Jones Jr., who was a very underrated receiver for his career. You're finding Brandon Pettigrew. So on and so forth.
Josh Allen's that guy though. Spread it around. Spread the love.
No, correct. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like that's where
don't force it into Stephon Diggs in the fucking slot. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's
like exactly.
Who cares?
When you
make plays, give Josh Allen the toolkit to just make plays. Don't make him use one hammer. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of guy he is. He needs to use a lot of different instruments, and I think that it's been the best year of his career so far. Watching him try to do that, regardless.
I like that analogy.
Yeah,
that's good.
Now you got when you have to think through the game. Now we can have a thing.
Many arrows in his quiver. Okay, well, we talked about the Lions already. They're fourth.
I really like those uniforms. Really like those uniforms.
Yeah, those are cool, right? Leah actually said the same thing. Those are dope.
But another guy that folks wrote off, Jared Goff has been.
He's perfect.
Just
set around 18 for 18.
Like it's unbelievable. And shout out to Ben Johnson, who's been able to get a lot.
I wrote him off. I didn't think he was good.
He had that one year where they were still St. Louis, where he was really good for the Rams.
Yeah, and they got to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? It's just like.
But LA Goff, and then like the compacting that with Stafford going down there and winning, like like the perfect marriage that was Stafford going to Los Angeles, I should say going down there. I'm literally sitting in Los Angeles right now, so coming here and fucking winning, and everyone's sort of saying like, all right, well the Lions aren't built around Jared Goff, and they're not. Like I think that their peak offense is the two guys we talked about earlier in the backfield, and how insane it is that every time they make a running back substitution, the defense probably goes like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Like every time a new running back comes on, their running backs can't get tired because they just have like two, I hate to say it because it was a real like Monday Night Football commentary thing, but I think it was Aikman that was like, I think Montgomery's underrated as an open field back, and I think that Gibbs is underrated as a hard-nosed back. And I have always sort of thought that, like I as I've watched them, especially this year, where it's like, I don't know, they put Gibbs in the lane sometimes, and he's like putting his head down, and he's like doing all the things.
Gibbs is an all-around
like
back, man. He's not just that.
I'm
not like Swift.
I mean, it's just when you have Montgomery, like I think Montgomery, what I always thought when he was in Chicago, he's such an underrated like third down back or gadget back. Like I think he really has all of those skills. Like if you really want to put him in like a bubble screen, if you want to put him in like a slip screen, he can really make plays like that. But then it's like hard not to draw plays exactly like that up for Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Because it's like, fuck, dude, like that guy's built to do shit like that. Like he's that kind of give him a little space, give him a little wiggle, and it's like, ah, shit, he's gone. He's more of like Monty can get you 4 yards every time, probably. You know what I mean? Like he can definitely do it. And Gibbs on paper will probably slash you for 19 at like a few times in a game. But both guys can do both things. It's crazy. I love their backfield.
But to your credit though, remember I think last year, because obviously, I think they drafted him 12th overall.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think he's gonna take Monty's touch.
Right, yeah. But I was like, initially you was like, I don't see the vision, but it was like, you would challenge them on here, like, hey, you that guy, you at 12,
undeniable, right?
You're supposed to be, you're supposed to be that guy. So if you're getting drafted that high, you better produce. And now he's been thrusted into that role. So
that was honestly like, I get it, I see it now, and I was definitely wrong, but to me, I was just like, I don't know, like, do you not at the time I was like 12, like, do you not think Montgomery's as good as he is? Because he is
definitely a question,
and I think that is what happened. No, I think that's what happened. I genuinely think that they didn't know what they had with David Montgomery. I really think that's what it was. Like, I think that they thought that he was something a little one tier lower than he actually is, and now they have this embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, but I just think, and it's not just at the running back position. It's most spots if you can find it. It's better now in today's NFL with the lack of practice time and the way that you can be physical, or lack of physicality, I should say, to have those embarrassment of riches at those skill positions, because the more the merrier. The more the merrier. So I think that's probably why I think they did,
or have Patrick Mahomes. Those are your two options. You need to have like fucking. You either need like 5 game-changing offensive players or Pat Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes is still probably going to beat you. So, so frustrating. We have Tom Brady 2.0. It's so annoying.
I know we just got out of the Tom Brady era, and now
I know. I thought it was going to be competitive for a minute. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll never know. All right, moving on.
The game works this week.
The Houston Texans. Oh, it does. Oh, it does. Let's play it. Lions, Vikings, Texans, Chiefs. Chiefs are number 1 overall in the power rankings. Vikings are number 2 overall in the power rankings. Chiefs are AFC. Vikings are NFC. Texans are number 3. They're AFC. Lions are number 4. They're NFC. So let's play the game. Thanks, Bobby. Lions versus Vikings. I mean, this is an easy one, I think. I know the Vikings are number 2 here, and it's hard to justify them not being number 2 because they're fucking 4-0, right? Are they the only 4-0 team left?
No, Chiefs are 4-0.
They're the only.
No. It's like Kansas City too.
The Chiefs, of course. Yes, of course. The Chiefs. The Chiefs sort of seem like they should have lost at least one of those games, though. But they didn't.
We've seen that. Yeah,
they've played some close games. I'll put it to you that way. But Chiefs are obviously number 1 for a reason, with a bullet. The Vikings are number 2. The Texans are number 3. The Lions are number 4. But if the Lions put the Vikings right now in the NFC Championship game, and this is the game we always play, it's the Lions. It's the Lions all fucking day. The Lions are walking through them. I mean, I'd love to see that divisional matchup actually happen, especially because it would hurt Packers fans' feelings. But it's the Lions. The Lions are a better team. Like, they just are. So that's that. And then also, weirdly, Texans, sophomore slump? No, not going that far. CJ looked good. They won, but they should have won better. They should have won a few of these games better, don't you think? Like, they look a little sluggish. Can we talk about the Texans?
They do look a little sluggish. Ever since that Chicago game, where I thought they looked really, really well against Chicago.
Our shittiness rubbed off.
And then all of a sudden, since then, they've looked a little shaky for sure.
Yeah, I think Stroud is still good. He's still making plays, but are they almost struggling not being the underdog team? Like, they have a little bit of a target on them now.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens though. That happens sometimes. I think that
people are paying attention. They were real surprised around the quarter last year.
Right, but I mean, when you play as well as they did, and then they started smacking people towards the end of the year, you're not going to stick up with people. And then once again, you smack Cleveland in the opening round last year.
Yeah, but we like that happening. We now look back and go like, "Ooh, did we give them a little bit more credit than they deserve by beating Cleveland?" Look at this Cleveland team now.
I mean, we say that, but it's like the playoffs is the playoffs. Like, you
it's true. No, it's true.
You're not beating the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? So like,
you made they were a playoff team at the time.
People was the playoffs. So
yeah, you're right.
So it's just like and once again, we've learned, and I've learned running the hard way the last 4 or 5 years. Wins are too hard to come by to say that.
Yeah, no, you're right. You should be hanging bells on them. I get it. I understand. I mean, a win's a win, and they're still winning their games. Right, Bob? I mean, you're the CJ Stroud aficionado. Like, how do you? I know how closely Ray and I are so much more like, man, I fucking love that defensive end. Man, I love that wide receiver. You're very into quarterback play, I think, despite the kind of goggles that you put over your eyes when you. I mean, all of us are, but despite the goggles you put over your eyes when you watch Dak Prescott, What is it? Dak Prescott halfway through last season. Did you know footwork was important? Anyway, sorry. He's like, you can move your feet different and you play better at QB. Oh my god, I can't.
I love it.
Just move your feet, right?
I love it. That's so good. That's so good.
But Bobby, I mean, like you call like case in point, you called the CJ Stroud resurgence or resurgence. The initial arrival on the
whatever
scene. The surge of CJ Stroud. You were like, this guy's the guy last year, and I don't think anything's happened to change my opinion in that. I mean, I think that once there's tape on you, second year, it can be tough, especially when you were that good year one. But what's going on over there? What are you seeing? It's not CJ's fault, right?
No, I mean, there's nothing really going on. They lost one game, and
no convincing wins yet, though, is my point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Ray just said, it's the NFL. You play who's in front of you week to week, and
it's too bad you guys didn't think that when the Steelers went 11-0 that year. But here we are.
Well, that was a different time, a different place.
We were all different people back then. So
how do you feel about the Packers? How I feel about the Steelers?
No, I know it's hard for you guys. It's hard for you guys. So, well, I mean, is it though? Because it's hard for.
Well, it is. Believe me, it is.
I don't know. You've seen your team smack the Steelers in really high-profile playoff situations. I've ever seen the Packers do is shit on my life for the last 25 years.
I always want to beat them. It doesn't matter how bad we are.
No,
I always want to beat Pittsburgh.
No, I know. I get it. And the iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel up at the top ranks. I mean, some of the best football years of our lives was when the Steelers and the Patriots were both good.
Right.
Just on pure spectacle, right? So a lot of great games in the AFC Championship game and divisional games and everything from those two teams. So I understand it. But anyway, the Chiefs in this game, if the Chiefs played the Texans and the Lions played the Vikings, does anyone not have the Lions playing the Chiefs and the Chiefs winning? Ooh, depressing. 3-peat.
Yep, that's 3-peat again.
All right. Well, that's what we do on the Power Rankings
every single week. Every single week for the last
Chiefs win the Super Bowl
for the last 3 years. We've been playing this game.
That's what we did all year last year. Is we were just like, the Chiefs probably gonna win the Super Bowl, and then they fucking did. We tried to talk ourselves into the 49ers, and then we tried to talk ourselves into a few teams. I think you tried to talk yourself into the Cowboys a few times, Bob. But here we are, and I get it. I would be twice as bad if the Bears were even remotely at that level. So there we are, gentlemen. You could probably fit the whole first Lord of the Rings movie into the size of this podcast, but we went. It was we came, we saw, we conquered. We came up with a dope new kickoff rule, which I think should go viral because it should. I mean, player safety aside, although it never should be. It was great talking to you. I really liked going through the entire NFL, every team basically. I don't know if we missed your team. Oh, sorry, Broncos fans. Oh, I'm so sorry. You beat the Jets and you didn't even get a fucking. You didn't even get a nod. You didn't even get a sniff. We didn't even say anything nice about Bo Nix, who's like, look, all right.
They'd be one of the teams that would, if they had lost that game, I'd cross them off. I'd think about it, but somehow they would.
Right. Yeah, we could, but it was the reason we didn't talk about the Broncos fans, and I'm sorry to say this is because the Jets look bad, but so did you guys. All right, well, for the Power Ranking show, I hope everybody has the most wonderful Week 5 possible. I hope you watch all the games that you want to watch. Ray, I hope the Patriots are as bad as you want them to be. Bobby, I hope that the Dallas Cowboys get done what they're going to get done. We're going to talk about them every week because they're your team, buddy, whether in the top 10 or not. So don't even stress about it. For myself, DK Sizzle, for the real BK, Bob Kelly, and for Hollywood Ray, our special guest, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see him many more times. Any week he wants to come on. Any time over the next, how many more weeks we got?
12 weeks.
12 more weeks of football, ladies and gentlemen. 12 more weeks of football. For all of us, this has been Missing the Point.